What up?
What's good?
What's up?
Yo, what's up, everybody? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to World's Finest. Yeah, got about a week till Christmas. Decided to, have a little festive stream for you guys. And also, a fucking fire movie came out like just a few days ago, which, people have been talking about
the
this.
big red dog.
What?
What? What's up?
You watched that, right? To get ready for the...
Yeah, that's what the show's about.
Didn't watch Clifford, to be quite honest.
Oh, well.
Cancel the show. Can't cancel it. But anyway, Spider-Man No Way Home came out pretty much on Thursday, and it was incredible. We're going to get into it. We have a panel of people here we're going to just talk about it for however long it takes. And so what you guys excited to talk about it, or?
I'm very thrilled to finally be able to talk
I finally
spoilers.
stopped crying, so.
Yeah, that too.
Powerful moments in the movie. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in some of the panelists. All right. First off, we got Destiny. What's good, Destiny?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. We are as well, because it's once we get into the discussion, we're going to see how pumped everybody was to talk about this. I know this next panelist, Hannibal's, he just couldn't wait, could you?
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Man. We appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you coming on. And finally, we got the rap nerd in here. What's good,
man?
What's going on, y'all?
What up, dude?
Hey, what's up? What's up, man? What's up?
Shit, man. So look, man. Movie comes out, a lot of talk, a lot of discussion, lots of everything with this movie. Behind the scenes shit getting leaked, just tons of shit, just tons of stuff just coming out, speculation and all of that things like that. And finally, I mean, who saw it on Thursday? Did everybody see it on Thursday?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, I saw it twice on Thursday.
Oh,
hey.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I know that's
Hey,
kind of
No,
weird, but
dude, that's awesome.
No, I couldn't even
Sorry,
see it once. That's impressive.
yeah.
3 o'clock.
Yep.
yeah. No, I saw one at 5 and then 10,
Nice.
10
Hey, man.
40 something.
Hey.
If I had the
dope.
time, this movie calls for a rewatch. It was just there like that. Real quick, let's get to the chat. The people who are here. DC Talk said, "Let's go." What's good, DC?
What up?
Joe, yeah, baby. Let's start the fire.
What up?
The fire rises.
Yeah.
It does. Anthony Bell
What's
in
up,
the house. What
guys?
up? What up? Caleb, what's good? What's good?
What's up?
What's up, ACS? Love the love the movie, and I'm a grown ass man. Dude,
Cried. Yeah, dude, I cried so many times.
Yeah.
Tristan,
And
Me
I
too.
don't even like Spider-Man really
Yeah.
at all. Like,
Mhm.
but it just hit so well. These emotional moments, dude. I was bawling.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Caleb said, "Love No Way Home. My personal favorite Spider movie. Tom was amazing. Toby was really great. And excited to see him again." And Andrew literally outshined everyone. The film
True.
solidified him being my favorite Spidey. Nice. Yes. Drogo said I was the one who leaked the image. What?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, chill.
Yeah.
Gavin says, "Oh, you saw it on Friday. Let's see."
Driving up Feige's blood pressure for the last 9 months.
Yeah,
That was him. Yes.
Dude, that's the funniest thing I feel like to come out of this whole thing is the Kevin Feige memes. Those were
Oh my
always
God,
hilarious.
yes.
Yeah. He's about ready to
Him
fight
with like a
people.
sniper rifle. Oh my god.
He said, "Yes, Neil. What's up, Neil? What's good?
up,
Yes, it was
What
fire." Gavin says William S. Goblin's my favorite. He was good.
Oh yeah.
He was good in this movie. All right. How's the irregulars? Neil, how's the? Oh, okay, he's talking. So real quick, like, look, I just want to get everybody's like overall initial thoughts when you left the theater, as the fucking obviously credit scenes. You had mid one and the post credit scene. Like, we'll talk about that, but like after that was done, like when you like stood up, like initial thoughts, man. Rap nerd, what's good?
Oh man. Y'all seen that meme, right? Of that girl going like crying. That is exactly what I did. I was like, finally. Like, as an avid Spider-Man fan, like I haven't really felt Holland at all in any of the prior movies. And when I'm watching this one, I'm like, finally, they gave me Peter Parker, and I'm excited to see what's next. And I'm like, perfection. Like, the movie's good before the reveals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
you get to that point, you're like, oh snap, they are coming. And then once that comes, it just takes it to a whole different level. I could talk for hours, so just throw it to somebody. But love it, love it, honestly.
So Hannibal, what you think, man? Initial thoughts, like just fresh out of it.
I mean, okay, so like I had like a high level of anticipation going in.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of already had believed and known who was in the movie like months beforehand, so I just didn't know anything about how all it was going to happen. And and Spider-Man fan since I was like 6, so all I was really hoping for was just like, don't be disappointing. Like, even if you're not like great or anything like that, like don't disappoint me. And I legit, like, after the second credit scene, I still sat there in my seat for like 10 minutes until the usher said, "Hey, you got to come get the fuck out of here, bro." I legit couldn't move. Like, emotionally, I was feeling it, and I was just like, I was processing it, and I immediately knew I wanted to go back and see it like right away. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of exceeded all my expectations, because it kind of gave me the Spider-Man movie that I was waiting for from this this new MCU trilogy, which I don't have like a huge, like, I have issues, but I don't like hate the other movies necessarily. Well, okay, Far From Home, I don't really have a lot of that movie. But like, I was willing to like play it out, because I'm like, okay, but they're gonna take it there though eventually. Like, Tom is gonna eventually, and I gotta give him his flowers. Like Rap Nerd said, like, before you even get to the end, I was like really enjoying the story that they was going for. Like, it was hitting me. And then when that shit happened, that's like the icing on the cake, not, so yeah, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Everything about it.
Destiny, initial thoughts.
Man, I love this movie. I do love Spider-Man because Peter Parker is the character that got me into comics. It's the first character my brother put in front of me. So I just love him so much. And before it even got to the first mid-credit scene, I was already trying to calculate, when can I rewatch this? When can I go again? But I was watching the movie. I'm like, I think the MCU finally got it. Like, that was my initial thought when I watched the movie. I'm like, they finally get it. They finally get Peter Parker. It was just so, like, it made me feel so giddy. That's what I love about the movie.
Nice. And then Gavin says, Tom Holland killed it. Did.
The rain scene, man.
Yeah. Iron Boy Jr. was like the new 52.
That is a great analogy.
Yeah, that's actually kind of dope. I like that.
Yeah. So Joey, man, initial thoughts, like as it's finishing.
It was, I mean, I talked about it before, but like, it's definitely in my top 3 of MCU movies. Like, it's just, if it's not perfect, it's like just nearly perfect. Like, I saw it again today, and I can't think of anything that I didn't like or I wish they did differently. It was just so just well executed, and just like, a movie like that doesn't come around too often, especially like, in my opinion, the MCU hasn't had like as many hits as many people would say. But this was like, as also a Spider-Man fan, like growing up, like this was a love letter, I think, to every generation of Spider-Man fans so far.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And as I real quick before we get to Meg's initial thoughts, as I failed to mention, full spoilers in this.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. I was gonna ask that too. Okay.
Full
You
on.
should put up the spoiler warning just in case.
Yeah, where's it? I'll try to find it.
I didn't want to say anything and ruin it.
No, you're good.
No, you're good.
I'm glad this is just initial thoughts, because I forgot. Well, it's in the description below the.
Nobody reads that.
Maybe that's my default, just in case we.
Yeah, true.
I said it's in the description. Y'all need to watch.
Yeah.
But
I'm waiting to spoil this one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm ready to talk about all of that.
And like, before I get to my initial thoughts, like that, it's just like, I wish, because I have someone I work with who isn't really online or anything, doesn't know anything about the leaks, nothing. So he has no idea who's in this movie. And I was talking to him about it, I think it was on Thursday, like before, no, it was Friday after I saw the movie. And he was like, so how was it? And I was like, oh, dude, it's fucking amazing. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll try to catch it before it leaves theaters. And I was like, no, dude, you need to like leave and go see it now. Especially if like you haven't had anything spoiled.
Yeah.
And you work in a comic store. So someone is bound to walk in and be like, yo, I can't believe so-and-so's in the movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but
Right.
that's the one thing I wish we all could have had was like, yeah, you know, like there's rumors and stuff that are like who's in the movie, but like, yo, John Campea,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
that
Fucking-
because it just sucks because
Literally.
like you're watching the movie and like those exact things pop up on screen
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, well, there it is, you know.
Mhm.
Right.
But I wish we all could have had that like clear mind watching it because, dude, imagine if you just thought this movie was Spider-Man and Doctor Strange fighting these villains, and then
Right.
Yeah.
you know Toby and Andrew show up, and you're like, oh, okay, this is dope. I mean, it's still dope, but yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Hold up, real quick before I get to see. It kind of does ruin the MCU introducing our own version of Doc Ock. I don't
think so.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
they can
think
still
so.
do it.
Yeah. Tom Holland, new Susan. We'll get to
Oh, that
that.
ending. So satisfying. Oh my god.
I don't
When
think
I
it
saw
would
that
ruin
blue
the
metallic,
villains though.
Oh
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think it ruined it either because
Yeah.
like it just shows you like the MCU version of those characters haven't even been introduced yet. Like
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
just such a
Right.
crazy concept. They still have all of this material. Like
Yeah.
he still has to fight his own Doc Ock and his
Yeah.
own Electro.
Mhm.
To be honest though, they're gonna have their work cut out for them with Green Goblin though. Like
Yes.
it's hard. It's
Leave it
hard
alone.
to match Willem. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yeah.
what he brought to the role. Like I might have to stay away from that one for a while.
For real.
Just
Yeah.
kinda like,
Yeah.
Just do Hobgoblin. Do Hobgoblin.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Following that once would have been tough enough, but like now that he's played Green Goblin twice, it's like I wouldn't want to touch that as an
Yeah.
actor.
John Campbell looks like the graphic kid.
That's tough.
Oh, come on.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
It's
As
like
for
that.
me, initial thoughts, like I wasn't. There's certain things I expected to happen, obviously, from like how this is went
Yeah.
down. Like from the time this movie was announced to like till we get to productions wrap and their post production. Like there's certain things I expected to see. Wasn't prepared for that shit at all.
No.
Like literally take my breath away type shit. Like
Yeah.
watching it, I was like, oh my god. And also, look, I'll put it out there. People out there who watch my shit know it. Like my favorite Spider-Man is Tobey. My favorite Spider-Man movie is Spider-Man 2. This one rivals it, and also with look with the Amazing Spider-Man movies too, which are good. Like those are Sony Spider-Man. I always look at them as Sony Spider-Man. This was the first Marvel Spider-Man movie that felt like a Sony Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
there was like you felt the threat of things. It was like
Oh yeah.
people think about Sony Spider-Man movies. People died, right?
Mhm.
Like it wasn't a thing to where you know what I mean? Like it was just it had more gravity to it. As far as the first two, I thought Homecoming was I think Michael Keaton made that movie. And then when it comes to Far From Home, I just can't even.
Oh, throw it in the trash, man.
Yeah.
Disrespectful,
Good,
to say the
good,
least.
good.
Personally.
What up?
Yeah, that movie's so bad.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't get on that level with it.
Mm-mm.
So that's my initial thoughts. Like as I stood up and I was about to leave, I was like, damn, dude, that was really fucking fire. Like it was just like and the cool thing about it is I went and saw my wife, and my wife she pays attention to this stuff not as much as I do, so she didn't even know. So like when certain characters just came out, she was like, "Oh wow!" And I just it's cool to like fucking experience that, considering the fact that like she didn't know about it, and I kind of did. So that was cool to see it like that. So what you guys think of the story, Joey? We'll start with you, man. What you think of the story? Like how like big task, big old task to bring all of these characters together. But like make it sort of cohesive to the point where you don't leave like, well, like no, all of that shit for me worked. Period.
Yeah.
So what do you think about it, Joey?
Again, just really well done. Like it all flowed really well. Like there was no pacing issues. And it was what 2 hours
2.5
and like 30
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it flies by.
Yeah,
Just
it didn't
because, like,
feel
you're-
like I was there that long at all.
because you're just so connected. Like, you know, you're
Yeah.
like right from the get go. You're like, I want to see where this is going. You know, in the back of your mind, you're like, I'm here. You know why I'm here. But it's like, but they actually took the time to tell a well executed story. And yeah, no, I didn't find any problems with it. Like, it was heartbreaking. They let moments, like especially serious moments, be moments. Like, they didn't feel the need to add any sort of levity, which I really appreciated.
Nice. Destiny, what'd you think of the story?
I really love the story. I like the way, I think my favorite thing about how they approached it was that it was just so serious, and they really, like you said, let moments sink in. You understood the severity of things, because I was very afraid going into the movie that I would just want to get to the good part, like get to the third act, like, what are they going to do with the villains? But they approached everything in such an amazing way. Again, it was paced so well. So you're here with Doctor Strange, and you go to the villains. And even though I knew that scene on the bridge was going to happen, you knew it was with the trailers and everything, you know it's going to happen. But the way it was set up was so fantastic, and the way they, pulled all that out. I love the way they approached the story. Beginning, middle, end. It flowed so well.
Rap Nerd, what'd you think about the story, man?
Overall, I thought the story was great. I like how it all just comes together, and then like you referenced, we know what we're here for. We all know what we came here to see. But the fact that the story in general, caught me in a way that it was good before, Toby or Andrew showed up, and I really appreciated that. Like, seriously. Yeah. The only small part that I guess the small issue that I did have was I feel like the first like 10-15 minutes were kind of in the vein of like that Far From Home-ish homecoming type thing. Yeah. Like, I feel like with Spider-Man's identity being revealed, I feel like that part could have been taken a little bit more serious. I feel like it was kind of jokiness, like, when he ran into the house and the news is outside, it kind of was played up for jokes a little bit. But and
I feel you.
That was a little bit, and I think just the part of Strange, just being so reckless almost. And yes, he is, cocky as hell in the comic book, so it's just not too far out of his wheelhouse. But it's just, I think it could have probably been written a little bit better to, I guess, not have that piece of it. But other than that, though, besides that, I loved it, man. I loved it.
Nice. Hannibal, what you think, man?
Well, yeah, kind of like Rabner said, like the first, I'd probably say 15-20 minutes or something in the movie. Like, it felt like they kind of had to get the MCU isms out of their system for a second. Like,
that's perfect.
Like, I'm not saying I'm against comedy. Like, Spider-Man's gonna have comedy because Spider-Man is just a naturally, there's funny stuff that happens in his world. But for the first 15-20 minutes, I was kind of like, all right, when is this gonna get really started? You know what I'm saying? Like, because like he said, it was played for comedy. There was one shot where it's like they're walking into the school, right? And the camera focuses on their faces and they look stressed because, everybody outside is going crazy and like, slandering them, whatever. Him and MJ and Ned, they walking in. But then you listen to the music, and the music sounds really upbeat and really like happy. So you kind of sitting there like, wait, how am I supposed to feel right now? Because they looking stressed, but I'm trying to party. You know what I'm saying? Like,
on the nose. I feel the same way.
Right. That shit was kind of weird to me. But best thing I could say about the story after that is that it's a quintessential like Spider-Man story and a Peter Parker story. Like. It focuses a lot on what makes that job so hard, like the tragedy, the responsibility. Peter at first, and God bless her, they wasted Aunt May in the first two movies or all the other movies, like just a complete waste of space, honestly. No disrespect to Marissa Tomei, but they just didn't do nothing with her. But in this movie, they finally tried to make her a part of the story where she's like a moral anchor for Peter. Because Peter's sitting here and he's like, I don't know if this is my responsibility. And she's like, listen, it's what we do. That's what Toby said to him later in the movie. He's like, this is what we do. We help people. We look out for people. So I said, it's a testament to how strong the story was that at one point, I said this to somebody earlier. I said, so like, imagine that you you got betrayed by somebody that you were legitimately trying to help, and then they kick your ass.
Yeah.
And then they kill your aunt right in front of you. And then your biggest hater gets on TV right afterward.
Yeah.
And basically tells the whole world that you ain't shit. Like, just picture that for a second. Like that scene in the rain where he's just sitting there and he feels like the world is like crashing down on him, and that it's his fault. I'm like, that's Spider-Man. That's a Spider-Man story. That's that rising from tragedy, from heartbreak, from difficulty. That's what makes him him. So the story was it was great the way that they told it that way, and the focus on that element of Spider-Man. I really appreciated it.
Nice. Meg, what you think of the story?
I loved it. I think it goes really well, especially because the movie starts right as Far From Home ended. So it's just like, I think the story matures throughout the movie, just like Tom's Spider-Man does. He's at the beginning, he's like, yo, I want everyone to forget. And then he doesn't really care about the consequences of that. And then he has to deal with the consequences of that. And then people he loves die, and he has to become like Spider-Man, I really loved this story. The writing in a few spots was a little to me. Like the Doctor Strange stuff, I feel like wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. Especially like if you think that the line in the trailer, let's Scooby-Doo this crap was bad, it's worse in the movie, I think. But that's probably like the only gripe I have with the movie is the writing that incorporates Doctor Strange. It just didn't hit for me that well, but everything else, I mean, it makes up for it, to be honest. I really don't have any complaints other than Scooby-Doo. But even then, it's nothing. I love the way that they like introduced Toby and Andrew. I thought that was really, I loved that, how they're just chilling in what's his grandma,
Ned's grandma's house.
And he's just like, doing the Doctor Strange shit, and Andrew shows up. I'm like, oh my god, dude, my theater, I need to see it again, because my theater was like one of those obnoxious theaters. Because when hype shit would happen, you could hear like the next 30 seconds of dialogue. So I need to go see it again. But no, I thought the story was great, and I'm really excited to see what they do with the college trilogy. Especially because I feel like it's going to be a much more mature story.
Real quick before I give mine, my thoughts on the story. If you just bounced in, this is full spoilers. We're talking. We're digging deep into this movie, so nothing is off limits. So we're talking about all the credit scenes and all of that stuff. So if you're just now bouncing in, spoilers if you haven't seen it yet. But also, if you're a Spider-Man fan and you haven't seen it by now,
I want to be clicking on anything Spider-Man related on the internet. If I hadn't seen this movie yet.
As for me, the story was fire. It was like, if Andrew and Toby are going to be in this movie, how do you bring them in? How do you balance all of these villains? How do you do this? And for me, it's like damn near flawless. I was just like, yo, that was the perfect way to do this. Oh, you did that? That was the perfect way. Like, it just made so much sense. And it's crazy when you think about a movie like this coming out, and there's so many opportunities for like stuff to be forced into it. And look, when I say forced into a movie, my definition of forced into a movie is, the all-female scene at the end of Endgame. That is the most forced scene in the movie I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, it was just, it was there for, you know what I'm saying? Like, that felt forced to me. Okay. Yeah. So when I say none of even, and I'm sure we'll talk, even the mean joke, all of that shit was so. Yeah. And I said this the other day. I was like, yo, a lot of the stuff in this movie felt like it wasn't as though they said, yo, without fail, we have to have this in this movie. It was, we're making these scenes and we're doing this, and they were like, it'd be cool if we threw that in right there. A la fucking, I'm something of a scientist myself. That's
oh my god,
so good. It hit so good. And I was like, oh, dude, that was it perfectly placed. Like, it didn't feel like they forced it in there. But that was my main thing going in was like, how do you balance all of this? And I think it was balanced really, really well. And I think, you know, and the way it ended, there's just a lot. Him deciding that Ned and MJ would be better off without him. Like as he was in that coffee shop, he was just like, he looked around. He was like,
kind of heartbbreaking, to be honest.
It was, yes. But at the same time, he looked at the decision like, oh man, they're doing great.
Yeah.
And which makes the scene earlier in the movie in the coffee shop where they don't get accepted at MIT that much more fire because he sees that they got accepted and he's like, you guys are doing great. I think now is not the time. So I did enjoy that about it. And so look, let's move to the next topic real quick. And this is the biggest of it. You know, Andrew and Toby. So I saw what you rap nerd when they showed up. The scene after that, on top of the school. Like, talk about it, man. Talk about it.
Oh, well, first, I guess just to go back a little bit, how they were introduced. I really loved how they introduced them because I saw somebody say that they kind of didn't like it, and I think some people were expecting like some Thor and Wakanda type stuff where they show up epically and all of that. But I preferred this because I did not want them to come and save Peter. I didn't want him to save him. So I like that they just introduced him like that. But the rooftop scene, man, I was crying like I was at a funeral, man. Like just hearing them speak to Peter about their losses, and Peter trying to tell them that like you don't understand, and he's like, yeah, actually we do, because when you look at Toby and Andrew, they lost their Uncle Ben. And they lost other people too. So they lost, Andrew loses Gwen, while Peter, he loses Harry. So he's kind of like, we know if anybody, and you can't do this. And just the small things about the scene, like when Holland is kind of like, I'm done, I'm sending him back. And he tries to go to MJ for the box, and she kind of steps back and tells him like, no, you need to talk to me. Like it's the subtleties like that that make that scene so great. And Andrew's acting, man, I was crying, man. I loved it. Like perfection.
Hannibal, what you think about it, man? Well, Andrew and Toby, just overall how they came in and that scene, dude. That
I'm actually I'm really nervous to talk about it because I'm worried that I'm going to talk too much about it because I've been wanting to talk too much about it.
We've got time.
So much. Because I could do I am going to do an entire video talking about this. So it was a really great moment. The first two times I saw it, it was a great moment because I don't think most of the crowd that I was with knew for sure that Andrew or Toby was going to be in the movie. Like they had reacted really wild to the the Matt Murdock reveal earlier with Charlie Cox. So I said, oh, they have no idea. They came in here blind, right? So when I first saw Andrew, like I immediately wanted to cheer, to like stand up and cheer. But then I said, nah, I don't want to ruin it for everybody else. So let me just I'm gonna sit back and act like I'm cool. But then
not to interrupt you, because most of us, as soon as the portal opened and you saw the silhouette, tall, slim,
I knew, I said that's Andrew. And but it's like the more I saw of Andrew and Toby especially, not only did I want to cheer, but then I just really started getting emotional. I just want to kind of seg to the rooftop scene, which was heartbreaking because Tom is there and he's feeling like at his lowest point probably, and I'm like, shit, if I was him, I'd be like, fuck it too, I'd be like, I don't care about this, man. I'm done. I'm out. Like y'all can go deal with this. And it reminded me of that other scene, a better version of the scene from like Into the Spider-Verse when Miles loses his uncle. And then the rest of the spider people come into his room and they're like, hey, we've been there, bro. Like we've all lost people. And hearing Toby talk about Uncle Ben and hearing Andrew talk about Gwen, and Andrew, by the way, like if it's just hard for me not to look at him and say like that's not the best like performance for Spider-Man and Peter Parker. Like the emotion that he's able to like bring through in his lines and his delivery, his eyes, his body language, like he's just the best that I've ever seen at that, man. He's the best I've ever seen at that aspect of the portrayal. So hearing Tom hear about their losses and Toby basically saying, Ame doesn't have to have died for nothing, and telling Tom that even though, like, okay, so you tried to do the right thing, it didn't work out, but that doesn't mean that you were wrong to try to do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a great lesson between doing what's right and what's easy, and the way that they were also able to take this great moment on the ceiling and also turn it into like these two tiny little arcs for Toby and Andrew in the movie. Because like that's the best part. It's not that they were just there and we got to have all these callbacks and they got to be in some cool action scenes and stuff. Like, that's easy. But we also got to see like Andrew talking about how he became bitter after Gwen died and he kind of stopped pulling his punches, and he gets to kind of redeem himself later. I mean, we're not talking about that yet, but same thing with Toby. And I thought that was like a great way to introduce that for their characters. And it was just a great way for them to kind of pick up Tom and remind him, like, we've been there before. We know what it's like. You still got to keep trying to do the right thing, because this is what we do. This is part of it. So it was a great moment first seeing them. I was actually laughing a lot when Andrew came through and MJ was like real suspicious. She was sitting there like, nah, bro, you gonna have to right? You gonna have to show me. Like, she threw the bread at him. He's just like, why? What are you doing? Like, that whole scene was funny to me, but it was really just more like I went from cheering and being like happy as hell to like, damn, it's getting dusty in this theater, or like I have allergies, because I'm like sitting there and I got like full-fledged tears in my eyes, and I'm just like, allergies are a bitch, aren't they? It's crazy.
I did one of these in the theater. I was like this in the theater, like,
me too.
No,
the whole time I was like,
sitting there wiping, trying to be slick, like, hit me right here, man. Like, no lie.
And real quick, final panelist joining us real quick. Phil in the house. What up, Phil? Oh, is he coming in? So, there we go. Phil, what up, man?
Hey.
You here? What you drinking, man?
A Slurpee from 7-Eleven.
So Phil, man, we went over
welcome.
So far. So far, initial thoughts and our thoughts on the story. And right now we're talking about Andrew and Toby, like how they came in, and the scene directly after that on the school rooftop. So since you just got here, man, what are your thoughts on Andrew and Toby in the movie and the scene that came like right after that, like the emotional rooftop at the school? That shit fire.
Well, much like them in the movie, I just kind of showed up out of nowhere, so that's kind of cool.
Right?
But that was really cool. Like to see them show like first of all, the way that it was set up, it was actually pretty interesting, all things considered. Because this series gets a lot of flack for their humor, but I feel like this was a really nice way of interjecting some of that magical humor, but with Ned and the way he was like, I want to see Spider-Man, and then you see Andrew Garfield first. That was actually what really caught me off guard. Was I wondered what order they were going to show off the old Spider-Man in, and the fact that they did Andrew first as Spider-Man, and then they brought in Toby as Peter. I was like, I see what you guys did there. That was really cool. But then to have that emotional coming together of all three of them, there was a lot of talk about this movie going into it, and what I love is like it completely blew away any kind of expectations. It completely shut down any crap narrative that, they're only going to be like in the movie for 10 minutes. No, BS. They're in the movie for like the whole third act, and it was awesome. It was so cool. But like having them all come to terms with the fact that with great power comes great responsibility conversation has happened to all three of them, and it happens with a sense of loss on a personal level, makes it all that much more, shared among the three of them. And I don't know, this movie was just really, really awesome, and it easily made my number one in the MCU list. No question.
Yeah.
Nice. Destiny, what'd you think of Andrew and Toby, man? How they came in there and the scene after that?
Well, Andrew has always been my favorite Spider-Man in general, even though I love all of them, to be honest, in different ways. But when Andrew came through the portal, it was so weird. I was wearing my glasses, and when you see his silhouette, I'm like, man, that doesn't look like Tom Holland. He's like, that's not him, right? It took me so long to he turned around, you see his eyes, and he jumps through, takes the mask off, and you see his Andrew. I started bawling. I'm not ashamed. I'm like moving my glasses, crying. It was also a funny interaction with MJ trying to make sure that he has the tingle. But the rooftop scene, I remember my audience went crazy when you see both Toby's and Andrew's silhouettes on the
what a shot. Such a great shot.
What a
shot.
Amazing frame shot. It, put it on my wall.
Oh my god.
But man, I feel like I was very emotional in the entire third act, but especially when both Andrew and Toby were talking to Tom's Peter. By the way, I have to say their actual names.
Yeah.
But Tom's Peter one. About grief and about Aunt May, Uncle Ben, and Gwen. I was so emotional. I really feel like it felt so great to see these other Peters giving him the advice and support that he needed to continue his journey into becoming Spider-Man in a way. I was so emotional.
Yeah. Before we get to Joey, like I will say this, these actors haven't played these characters in years. The emotion on their faces as they talk to Peter on the rooftop, I was just like, bro, did they just film a Spider-Man movie last week? Because they lost none of it. It was powerful. They both had tears in their eyes. It was so like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like they're here for this. Like they brought their A game with this. And so Joey, man, Andrew and Toby, man, how'd you feel about it, man? Especially the interest.
I like as soon as Ned said, I just wish we could see Peter. I was just like, this would be the perfect moment for the universe to understand it and like take a different, take it in a different way. And like everybody said, like, seeing Andrew's silhouette, I was like, that's I was like just like hyping myself up and just like seeing him finally, I was just it was like being transported back in time and even further with Toby, like that scene on the roof of the school. I was just like, I feel like I'm back in 2002 watching the very first Spider-Man. Like I feel like a kid again, and I was crying. And I think it was Rap Nerd was saying like you didn't want to see them like have to come in and save Tom Holland's Spider-Man just out of nowhere or whatever, when in reality like that's kind of what they did. Like if it weren't for them, he would have stopped being the Spider-Man that he needed to be. So I just really appreciated their their performance. Andrew Garfield, I can't help but cry every time he cries. Like you feel it. You're like, yeah, dude, you lost Gwen. Like it sucks. It's awful. And like, just like everybody's said, pretty much like those performances were just like, it's like they hadn't lost a step. They stepped back into the suits and they were like, all right, let's do it.
Yep. Like they never left.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like,
go ahead.
No, I was actually going to get like into further spoilers, but I can wait.
Meg, Andrew, and Toby, what's good?
Dude, we knew they were going to be in it. Like we knew that they were going to be in it, but like everyone was saying, I didn't really expect them to be in it as much as they were. Like, I was expecting like, Tom Spider-Man is fighting all of these villains and like he can't do it, and that's when like Toby and Andrew show up. Like I wasn't expecting them to be like such mentor characters to him throughout the movie. Andrew showing up was absolutely hilarious. He's my favorite Spider-Man, and I agree he's like the best actor of them all. And so seeing the way he portrays like any type of emotion, because like we saw him laughing, crying, joyful, all of these types of emotions, and he just kills it, dude. He nails every single aspect of Spider-Man to me. I did like how Andrew showed up in his like outfit, but Toby shows up, dressed like, what does he call him, the cool youth pastor or something.
That shit was funny, dude. That shit was hilarious.
That was funny.
And I know someone posted this on Twitter, was like, what Spider-Man would you like to see be a mentor for like Miles Morales? And at first I said Andrew, which I can still see, but after seeing the way Toby he mentors both Andrew and Tom in this, I feel like
you're amazing.
Yes, you know, I think that
That was such a great scene.
Yeah,
I
it was.
think
My heart.
Toby's Spider-Man would be the perfect mentor for a Miles Morales character to come in.
Mhm.
And then
I can see
you
it.
know,
I can see
yeah,
it.
yeah. The roof scene, I was bawling the whole fucking time. The whole time. Especially when you see Tom just sitting there just like so distraught. And then his two best friends show up and they're like, "Oh, yo, we got two people that want to meet you."
Mhm.
And it's two Peter Parkers.
Yeah.
It's insane. And then they're talking about loss and stuff, and it just got me so hard when Andrew was like, looking at MJ and was like, "Oh, she was my MJ," talking about Gwen, and I'm just like, and then of course the great power comes great responsibility line, and they're like, "Oh, my Uncle Ben said that before, that's the last thing he said," and I was like, "Oh my god." That was a blubbering mess, dude.
Yeah.
It was amazing though. I absolutely loved the way they brought them in because, when you play with nostalgia in movies, it's always like it can teeter on that edge of like being gimmicky.
It's a slippery slope. It's a
and
slippery
this
slope.
never felt gimmicky at all. It felt like every character that was brought back had a purpose, and I didn't feel like it was gimmicky in the slightest.
Adrian says, anybody else expect Harry to show up and get a final moment with that? That would probably have been fire if he had of. As for me, look, when they're sitting at the dinner table and Ned does that shit, and then they're like, it's like I said earlier, as soon as the thing opened up, I knew immediately that was Andrew. Like the silhouette was just like perfect.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god. So like with that moment right there, I didn't expect it for it to hit me like it hit.
Yeah.
To like I was out of breath like as it happened. I was like, oh my god, dude, like seriously. And obviously the audience is fucking cheering. I tried to clap, but I was just like, fuck, I was done, dude. Like I can't say I was crying, but I was just like breathing heavily. My wife, like I said, my wife didn't even know. So she was just, oh, this is cool. And then looked at me like, you okay? I was like, nah.
Look what's happening.
Yeah, you see what the no. It was I didn't expect that. And then the rooftop scene, that once you hear Meg, or not Meg, what the fuck am I saying? Once you hear Aunt May,
me, I was there.
Yeah, she was.
Oh my god,
the way
Meg, you made the scene so much better. Just gotta say that.
Thank you.
You improved everything.
The way that Aunt May worded the phrase with great power, she worded it a bit differently. Was so fire, dude. I like the way she said it, and then for him to start saying that, and then all of a sudden Toby's like, comes great responsibility. Yo, he was like, how did you know that? I was like, get out of here! Like, like this is what? What are we? Yeah, I was done at that point in time as far as like trying to like keep my shit in control as far as like, okay, what's about to happen next? What's about to happen next? Once again, and I always say this is I smash. I'm a popcorn smasher, dude, when it comes to movies. And I was saying something about Dune, which was when Dune started, like I was eating, and at some point in time I just quit. Like I never leave the movie theater with a full bucket of popcorn. I eat it all. Left this one half bucket of popcorn. Like I picked it up at the end. I was like, damn, I really didn't eat any popcorn this time. That shows how like into the dude. Yeah, it was good. Right. So Andrew and Toby fucking killed it. And like she said, we knew, but like. That's what my worries were, like story-wise, was like, how will they bring these? How they gonna bring them in? Like, don't.
Bigger concern I had was whether they was gonna be in the movie and overshadow what Tom was doing, because I knew the movie was probably gonna be slanted towards his side. So I was a little worried, like they were gonna come in and like dominate the show, basically. And they did, but they did it with him, not like over
against him.
If that makes sense.
Over him. That's better.
Yeah.
He said popcorn. I do.
He is.
Yes, we've been to movies several times. I fucking kill popcorn. But yeah. So with talking about Andrew and Toby, man, let's say, what about the throwback villains, man? Like I'll start rapping. Like they were good. Like talk about them a bit, and then tell me a standout. Like who stood out, man?
Oh man. Well, I'm gonna get a standout first, which I think we pretty much all will agree on. Is Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. Now, most people I've seen Spider-Man 2 is their favorite Spider-Man movie, but for me, the first Spider-Man is like my favorite of all. And I don't know how he outdid his performance in that movie. I don't get it. He literally outdid what he did back then. I mean, one of the most vicious villains I've ever seen. Period. Like, the apartment scene. Like, I've never seen. It was reminiscent to the final fight. The way he really beat up Tom Holland, and it's just masterclass acting, man. Like, seriously. I can't say enough about him, but he definitely was a standout for me. I think they nailed Doc Ock perfectly. I love how he turned into a good guy at the end that kind of, finished his arc off the same way he ended Spider-Man 2. And just seeing him and Peter talk again, it just, my heart, man. Like, I'm just like, he's like, Peter, how are you? I'm like,
oh dude, yes.
They just nailed. Yeah, they just nailed it. With those two. I liked Electro, and again, I feel like he should have been like this in Amazing Spider-Man 2. I get it. You want to, make him different, but to me, Jamie Foxx is just one of those people that it's like it's hard to really see him in that light as a nerd. I didn't really buy it like that. So for him to come back in his shoes and really play to the person he is with Electro, it just felt more natural. It just worked. It just worked way better for me. Even with I guess next is Sandman. I think a lot of people are kind of conflicted about why he was trying. He was kind of back and forth, but I look at it like if you remember how his arc was in Spider-Man 3, he wasn't really a bad guy, and even here, his main concern was just to get back home for his daughter. He didn't. He wasn't on anyone's side. He just wanted to be sent home, and so for him. Same dude in the third movie. And the only, I guess, downer for me is probably Lizard. I could tell he was there for the muscle, pretty much. And I just feel like it would make more sense to have him there than have Hobgoblin there because it's already flying around. So I get the Lizard, but he was kind of the only one that I was like, he was cool. Didn't take away from the movie, but that's pretty much where I'm at with the villains. They all did a great job. I'm extremely happy with what they did. They respected the old movies, added a little bit extra flavor to it. So I was happy overall, man.
Yeah. Also, real quick, I think Jamie Foxx was probably like, "Yo, I'll come back, but I ain't about to be that dude." I ain't about to be that dude from the Amazing Spider. He's like, "I'll come back, but like, yeah." So Hannibal, what you think about the villains, man? Your standouts.
Well, like we said, I think for the villains, it would have been so easy to just like bring them back into this movie, turn them into more like MCU quipping type of villains, you know what I'm saying? And then just have them say or do something that reminds you. Like we were talking about the Green Goblin line from earlier when he was like, "I'm something of a scientist myself." If that had been them for the entire movie, like that's where you could say like, okay, maybe the nostalgia thing is not really because it's not really doing anything, but that's not really what happened. Because in this movie, I felt like the villains all not only felt like their natural selves from the movies that they left, they respected those versions of the characters, but then they also this felt like a natural like progression extension of these same characters. Because if you put those characters into this world and you kind of just turned them loose, this movie is kind of a great example of what would have happened. And I thought all the villains were great. I love the opening action sequence with him and Spider-Man. I remember like a couple months ago, there was like an image of Peter like running on the bridge and Ock was behind him, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, he's running away from Doc." And like it's kind of funny because when you watch the scene, obviously that's not what's happening, but a great action sequence. And then Ock, he felt it was great to see him eventually transition to that redemption, because that redemption, first of all, the redemption and second chances is actually a big theme in the entire movie. Like that's like a big thing that they brought into there. So in these movies, what better example of redemption is there than Doc Ock, where he didn't want to die a monster, and he basically saved the city, even though he the motherfucker that put the city in danger in the first place. But, so I thought he was great. I loved Electro, like Rabner said. Electro, he's one of the things in Amazing Spider-Man 2 that I'm very mixed on, like I like the casting choice of Jamie Foxx as Electro. Like, I think that's fire. But in this movie, they kind of let Jamie be Jamie, and I want to see that. If you're going to play a villain, you're going to be a badass villain like Electro, let Jamie be Jamie. Let him do his thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel that all the time in The Amazing Spider-Man. The redesign was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
The switch up of the lightning, and he was damn near like, he was damn near the most powerful one at the end. It was getting a little dicey there for a second.
Yeah.
And the standout though, I mean, Rabner, y'all know, like, it's we ain't gotta search hard for a standout. We know who the standout is. Willem Dafoe is more chaotic and menacing and creepy and evil in this movie than I think he's ever been. Like, the craziest thing is he was great, amazing in Spider-Man 1. And he may have actually single-handedly caused more damage in this movie. Even than he did in that movie. Like, the apartment scene is that is tension in a comic book scene executed at the highest level. Because the craziest thing is when Peter's spider sense, when his thing went off and he started walking through, I got paranoid as shit because I was just sitting there like, wait, are they all about to jump him? Like, who the fuck's about to? What's going on? Like, I was sitting there like, hey, y'all need to get the fuck out of there. Like, I was like, where is it going from? That to me speaks to how amazing the tension was in that scene, and the way that they were able to perfectly capture like the Jekyll and Hyde nature of Norman and the Goblin, and Willem Dafoe, who didn't have his mask for a good majority of this movie, which somehow added to the performance. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was ruthless, he was badass, he was just the ultimate creep, and I loved it. I loved him in this movie, and like I said earlier, that's like one of the most iconic performances ever, man. I'm not really sure how you're supposed to top that. I'm sure somebody will try one day because that's how it goes. But that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough because look at what he did to Tom in this movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, he fucked this shit up. And
he did.
The only last thing I'll say is that I'll add real quick is just about Sandman and Lizard. I think those two overall, they served their purpose, but it felt like their purpose was really more of either exposition or to be there for the fights, which is fine because the other three do most of the heavy lifting. So I'm not like bitching about it or nothing, but it's like those two I could tell weren't always filmed in the same scenes with everybody else. And I could tell that, like they said, that they had to kind of really work hard to make all of this come together and work. And some of these actors, they're in different places. They got different schedules. Some of them couldn't have been on set at the same time. They had to negotiate contracts, all that shit. So I know that for them, that's probably why you couldn't get Thomas Hayden in the physical for the movie. It's probably that reason. So that's why they went with the Sand and Lizard, same thing. It's just easy to make him the Lizard for the whole fucking movie. They were fine. They were okay. They were good in the action scenes. Sandman I liked him probably better than Lizard because they still felt like the characters that we remembered them from in their old movies, but they served their purpose. They do just kind of stick out as like the clearly like extra villains. You know what I'm saying? Like they're there to make all the extra fighting and shit work, and they did. So it was fine. But that's kind of my thought on all the villains and stuff. I'm such a blabbermouth. I feel bad.
You did good.
I'm gonna shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. I have a lot of thoughts that run through my mind about this movie, and I'm used to. I talk a lot,
Man.
so
don't even. You're good, man.
Also, with those two though, if I'm not mistaken, those are the two actors that didn't return. was Thomas
least-
Hayden Church and I can't pronounce the other
Right,
names.
siphons.
Right,
Yeah.
siphons. Yeah, I think though. I didn't think they did, and I kind of checked the casting. They're not on it at all, so I don't think they. So that's probably.
Did they just record voice worker? Is that all they did
voice
was
work,
record the
and then-
voice
Yeah.
work?
And then the scenes at the end with Thomas Hayden Church where the sand falls off, that's like repurposed,
Yeah,
I
but-
guess, from
Yeah.
Spider-Man
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
So
For the
Destiny, what you
Justice
think?
League.
Destiny, what you think about the
For the
villains?
Zack
Right?
Snyder?
Standouts, your yeah. What you think about them?
Well, I feel like we all have the same standout, but
Yeah.
when it comes to the villains, and I'll get to my standout. Man, Green Goblin, crazy.
Yeah.
But all the villains, I think it was really smart to have them come to the MCU universe right before the moment they died in their universe. Because
Yeah.
of course it's Peter. Of course, if he figures that out or finds that out, he's not going to want to send them back. So I feel like that was very smart to do.
Mhm.
And like you said, Sandman, Lizard, mostly muscle exposition, not really the same level of Doc Ock, Electro, and of course Green Goblin.
Yeah.
But I really love that Doc Ock kind of redeemed himself in a similar way to Spider-Man 2, because I was kind of scared he would just be, from the way he came in, I just was scared he was going to be just saying weird shit all the time.
Yeah.
So be at the end and not, because I really love him from Spider-Man 2. I love his whole arc. So I love that they mirrored that and the way his arc went in No Way Home. But man, I have to already get to my standout because Green Goblin was so good, you guys. Green Goblin was so good. And I just cannot forget. I need to see this movie again. But I just cannot forget not only the scene where Peter has, his spider sense and he figures out that, it's Green Goblin. And because I don't know why I trusted him for a little bit. Maybe I'm just
Yeah.
I'm Peter. I did trust him for a little bit. He would
I
have
trust
gone
him
over
for a
on
second,
me.
yeah.
Wait, if I didn't have spider sense. But man, the entire fight scene that happened after that between Peter and Green Goblin especially, it's just crazy. I love that so much also because personally, it's weird, but I forget how strong Peter is, and I also forgot how strong Green Goblin is.
Yes.
So watching Peter rail on Green Goblin and he's just smiling up on him, I will never forget that image. I really will never forget how that looked. I have to watch this movie 5 more times.
Same.
But
At least.
Yeah.
At least. Maybe more.
Yeah.
Very untrustable faces.
Somebody said, yeah,
He really does.
Yo,
He really does, though.
Real quick, go. You finished? Go ahead.
Oh, I do want to say, I do feel like they treat all the villains with respect, which I was really scared of when it comes to the MCU. I was very afraid.
Yeah, I was as well. They're just going to throw some things in there and just like, what? Real quick though, when that scene that we're talking about, where he has his spider senses tingling, and he like webs Green Goblin's hand up to the window or whatever, the look on his face, bro. I was like, what are we doing? Like, the creepiest shit ever.
Yeah, I immediately was like, abort mission, get the hell out of there, man. Leave. Don't come
My
back.
heart started beating really fast. I was like literally in my seat, like,
Me too.
oh shit, oh shit,
That
oh shit,
whole
oh
time
shit.
that his like because he's like stepping back and like the camera's like zooming in while he's stepping back and it's like getting more and more blurry in the background. I'm like, yo, something's gotta fucking happen because I'm getting anxiety, dude. Come on.
Like I can't believe we got like a Spider-Man warehouse fight scene. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So Phil,
did y'all? I don't know if anybody played the game, but did y'all notice the two moves that Tom did in this movie that was from like the PS4?
I was looking for him.
Game or whatever.
I noticed
So,
one of them
like-
when he flips up and pushes down. Right?
Yes, I know.
The one where he like body slams Goblin through the floor is where he like webs the ground and like kicks down. He did that one, and then he did another one at the very end of the movie, the one where he like jumps and then flips and grabs him and then body slams him like in a front flip. You know what I'm saying? Like he did those two moves. And,
nice.
Yeah. I thought that was a pretty nice
One of the
touch.
things, boy.
Dude,
The effects were so good.
That front flip power bomb was.
Yeah, I didn't realize it, but that's probably why the audience was going nuts when he did that move at the end. Like when he was fighting the goblins at the end, that shit was. So Phil, man, obviously I don't standouts. And what do you think about the way they brought the villains in this movie?
That was the big that was another big question mark. Like, how are all these villains going to fit into one Spider-Man movie? Because that's always been a large criticism of past Spider-Man movies that haven't been so well received. Was there's always too many villains? How are they going to balance it out, right? So bringing prior villains in and doing it in such a way that felt really crucial to each Spider-Man. Like, for example, Dr. Octopus, and the way what I thought was interesting was how Peter kind of really helped Dr. Octopus in a way, and it almost came off in a way that felt like it was homaging Superior Spider-Man, because when his nanites take over Dr. Octopus's body, he essentially has control over Dr. Octopus's body, therefore kind of making him kind of like a Spider-Man in a way, I guess, kind of, sort of. But the fact that he like made his chip to, silence the voices of the tentacles was really cool. I don't really think it is much of a question that Willem Dafoe is a standout, and I was actually genuinely surprised watching him just beat the straight snot out of Tom Holland in those two fights. But also, like, the fact that he was the one to deliver the death blow to Aunt May was just even more that was heartbreaking. That was so heartbreaking. But I also can't disagree, even though I really love the Lizard. He was my favorite villain from the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, and also that's no slight to Jamie Foxx. I agree with everyone else here. I feel like if you're going to bring in Jamie Foxx to do a role, don't try and morph him into something he's not. Let him be himself, and I feel like they really did let that happen here. It made for a much better Electro, one that's very power hungry too. I think, I don't remember. I'm sorry. I don't remember who said it on the panel, but he really was like the most powerful one of the bunch. You could actually see it too. Like, he was absolutely the biggest threat there, and it was just a matter of time before he really probably could take out all three of them if he really wanted to. But I feel like if I had a disappointment, it's probably the first post credit sequence with
really.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a bit and discuss those. I like it. So Joey, man, villains. What's standouts and how'd you feel about them?
Well, first of all, and I agree with Destiny. I think all the villains were treated with respect. It's just that some of them were, I think the writers realized that some of them would be better utilized than others. So, like, Lizard and Sandman, who coincidentally were the only ones who didn't die facing Spider-Man, were like the least interesting to me. Like, it was cool to see them back and, like, in the fight and everything, but like at the end of the day, they were, didn't add too much to it. Obviously my standout is Willem Dafoe. I'll get to that in a second. But Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, just like seeing him back, and like, we saw him in the trailer a few months ago, but seeing him back again, it's like he never lost a step. And like that moment where he gets the chip fixed and he just says it's so quiet. It was just such a beautiful moment because he finally got peace. However long he'd been dealing, however long he had those arms, he finally got peace, and he's like, I forgot what it was like. I thought that was a really just great moment. I loved seeing the turnaround, him being the just the bright person that he is. Like, he was excited to see Norman. He was excited. He was like, very grateful to Tom Holland's Peter for just like, fixing everything. Willem Dafoe. I'm pretty sure he is my earliest memory of a villain that I was absolutely terrified of. Like, whenever he was on screen, like, there were a couple jump moments where I was like, oh, like, I remember being a kid, like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then like, the on the opposite end of like seeing Toby making that, back, making me feel like a kid again. Willem Dafoe made me feel like a kid again, and that I was like, I'm terrified of him.
Yeah. He
didn't like, it wasn't just like, oh shit, like he means business. It's like, oh no, I'm scared. Like, he like just his facial expressions, and like he was able to do so much that he wasn't with the mask on the entire time in the original. And he just crushed it. Like he was, now that he is an MCU villain, I think he is the greatest MCU villain to ever do it.
Right.
That fight scene in the apartment complex was just brutal.
They do him through 4 floors.
Dude.
The takedown that he does, he gets the 2 legs hooked and then drives him into the ground. I almost jumped out of my chair like I was at a wrestling event because it was so well executed. And and I was like, that was beautiful. And like, I'm pretty sure I saw a video where Willem said he wanted to do most, if not all, of the stunts
by himself. Yeah.
So the fact that he took that time to, not just throw punches, but like, throw in wrestling styles or whatever. I thought that was just so well done. So like all these villains just crushed it in my opinion. I mean, I don't really have much bad to say about them.
Nice. Meg, your thoughts, villains?
I mean, I agree with everyone. Willem Dafoe is a standout. One of the things that I really loved was the introduction of Electro and Sandman, how it happened at like the same time. Like you see Peter like walking and you see like the sand moving and you're like, oh shit. And then like you see the electricity, and when Electro finally manifests in his form, it plays the dubstep for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, that shit, that was perfect because it was just enough to where it was like, it caught your attention. But I just love the way they introduced all of them. And like Joey said, when Doc Ock sees, what's his name? I'm a Green Goblin again for the first time. It's like this really cool reunion. And yeah, Willem Dafoe was dude. That guy has to be actually insane, like in real life. I don't know how someone can like play, especially like how he just hones that performance in, and he hadn't played that character in how many years?
Yeah,
and he can just go like right back to it. And I do like, the voice, the laugh. And like
terrifying.
The way you can tell the difference between when he is like in that Green Goblin state of mind and when he's not is just so insane. And I love how they introduced him through Aunt May and Peter talking to each other, where she's like, yo, I think one of those guys is here. And then you see him. And then they're talking, and in the background, you see him just grabbing donuts. Another thing I loved about Willem Dafoe's performance was how he's the character that, that scene where Aunt May dies, and then how much it devastates Peter, and then that big fight at the end, and MJ could have died at the hands of Green Goblin too. So like he really fucking hates this guy, and it just makes that fight at the end with those two even more powerful. And I would say Willem Dafoe and Electro were like my favorite villains out of the bunch. Doc Ock I thought was great too. But yeah, Sandman and Lizard were kind of forgetful. But I think that they all needed like a closure of their storyline. So, and I like how it ended for all of them for sure.
I also got to say to the actors, credibility, at least between Norman and Doc Ock.
Yeah.
Like they didn't act together in those movies. So the fact that they had this banter between them and it felt so genuine, like none of it felt like force. It was just like, I believe that they were friends. I believe they were colleagues.
Yeah.
It was just again, really well done.
Yeah. As for me, fucking fire performances all around. They bringing them back and the way they brought them back it just worked for me perfectly. I thought Jamie Foxx was funny. Whether he's like, yo, y'all just gonna stand there like I ain't butt ass naked, whether him saying that, or he was just like sitting there with Tom Holland, he's just like, yo, them your Legos right there. And it didn't go anywhere. He's just like, yo, them your Legos. He's like, what? And it was. I thought that was funny. And obviously the standout is Willem. I don't know. Terrifying. I can't. You guys have said it all. He was. Dude, what? Yo, think about his performance in Spider-Man 1 and times 1,000, and he that much creepier, and so overall, I think we're all satisfied with like the way the villain
crazy old man injured.
Dude, psycho. Even when he was talking to Aunt May, and she's like, "I got one of them here," and he gets to the shelter, and he's sitting there, he's just talking. I was like, "Dude's insane."
Yeah.
Like this is, you know what I mean? This is just,
Right.
It's crazy anyway. So as we talked about the villains, I like to move on to the acting, not the main characters, but what you guys think about the secondary acting? Hannibal, we'll start with you, like, with MJ and Ned and the funny, real quick, the funny scene when Peter gets upstairs at the high school and they're all standing there like, yo, this is, I can't remember the teachers' names, but with the teachers, I was just like, yeah, that seems kind of funny. But go ahead.
Yeah, so first of all, I'm kind of glad that like the teachers and everybody were like, they're basically in the movie for like one scene. Like when I think about some of my least favorite moments of Far From Home, it's definitely the high school hijinks or whatever, like the dumb high school humor and the teachers and the stupid love triangle thing they try to do. Like most of that, it just irritates me thinking about it. But I'm glad that they only had like one scene in here, and it was kind of funny because if one of your students was revealed to be a superhero, that's probably how people would be acting. I like that Hannibal Buress was there, and he was just kind of like he was like the conspiracy theorist. He's like, murderer. Mysterio did that shit, Mysterio. Like Mysterio was right. Like I thought that was funny, and honestly, it kind of reminded me that if there is one thing that's like it's not a thing, but it's like a small thing that I would have been cool with, is if they had added an extra 5-10 minutes to to show the divisiveness of Peter and his identity being revealed, but also being accused of murder, which is like two different things. Because I could have used a scene where we see how this actually hurts his job as Spider-Man, the public mistrust in him and the scrutiny, like an extra scene. So that scene with Hannibal it was funny, but it also kind of reminded me like, okay, yeah, I could have used more. And then as far as like the other secondary actors, I don't consider Andrew and Toby to be secondary actors, so I can't talk.
No, not them. No.
Okay, like okay, I was thinking about that. Yeah, they get like top shelf billing, and I was just like, I could talk more about them, but I've already talked a lot about them. MJ, I would say I think Zendaya's always been talented. I just think that the movies have not always utilized her talent in the best way. And really, a lot of it is more due to some of the writing for her character than anything else. But I thought in this movie, performance-wise, this was definitely her best as MJ.
Oh, yeah.
During the emotional scenes, she brought it, And when it come to like somebody being like a ride or die, like she was that for Peter in this movie. She was kind of his rock and his, that always that supportive shoulder that he could lean on when he needed to, like she can't get into college because of this dude. Like her life is constantly in danger. The multiverse is sending all these villains through. She dies, and through the whole thing, she's just like, "Nah, I'm here. I got you. I got you." And I'm just like, "Yes, no wonder, Tom, can't let that go in real life." But I thought she was great. I thought Ned was good too, because there were also some moments, especially towards the end, where he had to get a little emotional too. One scene kind of struck me is the scene right before Andrew and Toby came through, where his grandma is kind of like consoling him. And I was sitting there thinking like, oh yeah, I don't know why, but I'd be forgetting that since they're best friends, they've probably grown up around each other's, grandmothers and family members, and that he probably knows Aunt May too. So that probably hits him hard. So I thought Ned was good. And I thought really all the secondary people did what they were supposed to do. They did their job. Some of them went above and beyond. Some of them just did their job. And I thought for a movie like this, that's really all you need. You just need somebody to like, nobody to like stand out as like the bad part of it, where it's like, you drag the movie down every time you're in a scene. There was nobody in this movie that did that. And I'm kind of happy about that. So I was pretty satisfied overall.
So Destiny, what do you think about the acting? And not the major, not the main, not this Peters or the villains or anything, but like as like he was saying, like Zendaya and Ned and
did we include Doctor Strange in this? Benedict Cumberbatch?
Sure.
Supporting.
Holy shit! I forgot to talk about him.
I was wondering if we include him. I'll include him.
Yes, go ahead.
My bad. Go ahead.
When it comes to the acting, I really love that Zendaya is so great. I was so happy that she was just getting more to do because, like you said, the writing has given her nothing before, and she's honestly a great actress. So I was so happy she was getting more to do with her character, and I really finally, I think in Far From Home, even though I had problems with the movie, I like the kind of puppy love between her and Peter in that movie. So, but I really felt the stronger connection in this movie. I think that acting was so great for maybe reasons aside. But. And then Ned is weird. I also did not like, I have problems. But in the other movies, I have not liked Ned either. But I think the actor did really well in this movie as well, because I just feel like the writing is just so improved in this movie with every character. I think the only character that I think Meg said that was a bit strange was Dr. Strange.
Yeah.
That was perfect.
I did not want to do that. Wow. But he was so weird in the beginning of the movie. I could see why people thought he was a Skrull, because he just did not seem like him. I feel like Doctor Strange with the writing he felt more like him at the end. So I can't really say anything about Benedict Cumberbatch's acting because that was what was given to him, but it was just very weird what they were doing with that. I don't know. Who else was supporting? Who else was supporting? Oh my gosh.
Happy is Aunt May. Happy Hogan.
No, Aunt May. Oh man. Happy really was not there as much as I expected that he would be. I thought he would really be put into the crossfire more. So I can't really say much about John Favreau. And then Marissa Tomei, again, another situation where the writing before did not support her. But man, I loved her in this movie, and they tricked me because I thought she was going to be okay, but she wasn't. But Marissa Tomei's acting during, I think the whole movie, but especially that last scene in the apartment, and when she's telling Peter, with great power comes great responsibility. Oh God. Sobbing. I was sobbing. She delivered that line so well, man.
Yeah, it was good. Phil, man, acting. Yeah, she was.
I don't really have too much of an issue with any of the supporting roles. I mean, I hear that I've heard from a couple different people that the first half hour, 45 minutes or so, kind of take a minute to get things rolling. I can kind of understand that, but I will say just out of as a supporting cast. Between Benedict Cumberbatch and Marissa Tomei and Zendaya and Jacob Batalon, who played Ned Leeds, Happy Hogan, I didn't have too many issues. I actually thought they were all pretty well served, all things considered. I mean, Aunt May was largely part of the reason why he is who he is now, and she's been there throughout the all three movies. And a friend of mine were actually talking about her role and these three supporting characters, May, Ned, and MJ, and how each one would affect Peter differently. But if anyone were to pass in this movie, who would hit him the hardest the most? And it'd more than likely be Aunt May. And I think this is probably the best performance and material that Marissa Tomei's been given so far as Aunt May. It's just kind of a double-edged sword because now she's just no longer here. So I think what we could do, or maybe what they could do, is if they wanted to go down like a Madam Web route, like you could bring her back as Madam Web, or maybe bring back Sally Field, basically bring back an older Aunt May or an old actress who played Aunt May to play a Madam Web somewhere down the line. But overall, I think the supporting cast wasn't a bad casting. They were all really well served.
Nice. Rap nerd, what you think, man? Acting.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everyone. And at the core of it, I think it's just when you have better writing, it makes for better performances. Period.
Yeah.
Because this is one of the MCU movies that, I actually feel like these are actually performances and not just people, reading, memorizing the script. Because a lot of these, everyone in this film feels like a real person, and not just a character in a movie. You know what I'm saying? From their acting to the way they deliver lines, everyone just feels real, and you feel everything they give. No one's phoning it in, and that's what I like most. I feel like sometimes these big movies like this, people can just phone it in. Well, Doctor Strange, he's a weird one. I agree. Like like I'm sitting like I'm thinking to myself, like, is he supposed to be like Mephisto? Is he controlled or something? Because to me, he's just been weird in this movie, and he was just weird prior. Like, it's just, I don't really know if they're just telling him to be wooden or what. I don't know. And everyone, I think he's the one that's kind of like. But the rest of the cast, I think MJ, she was the actual MJ that I've always wanted to see, where she is Peter's rock and supports him morally. And she's just not kind of there. While I get that it's the development from going from, them starting a relationship to now. I just like that she was more of a person in Peter's life and a real person. Same with Ned. He's a real person. You see them both give a lot of emotion at the end of the movie when they realize, like, we're not going to know you anymore.
Yeah.
And you can actually feel that more than anything we've seen in the rest of the movies they've been in. So I think they did a great job, honestly. Way better than what I've seen prior.
Yeah, you're right. Writing, bro, that shit is on a different level in this movie. So Joey, man, what do you think about the acting?
Yeah, I think his core like support system, Ned, MJ, and Aunt May. Not that Happy doesn't, support him as much, but he just wasn't in this one as much. Which I kind of appreciated, like the veering away from like the Tony Stark connection.
Yes, most definitely.
But I feel like they were, definitely at the very least the most improved. Like, getting back to his like the high school, like the teachers and stuff. I feel like this was kind of like a good send off for that portion of his life. And we know we'll probably see is it Betty who's the
Betty's what's her name?
Betty Brand?
Yes.
Yeah.
She works for like
Betty
the Bugle
Brand.
and stuff later. So I thought that was like in like Flash Thompson, I thought that was a pretty good like again, send off for that era of his life moving into this. But I've always been okay with Ned and Zendaya and even Aunt May, even though like she again wasn't like the writing just really wasn't there in the last two for me, which luckily did not take away the impact of the loss in this one. You still felt that, especially after the great power, great responsibility speech. But no, I thought everybody was just the writing was there. It all just came together flawlessly. Yeah.
Nice. And Meg, what'd you think?
I think that it was like this whole movie is just like lightning in a bottle, and like the acting is just really what put the cherry on top. I mean, it was an amazing story, but everyone down to like Flash Thompson really brought something special to this movie. But yeah, I'm glad we can all mostly agree on Doctor Strange. Just I feel like there's something up because like he hasn't really been the same Doctor Strange since Endgame to me, really.
Yeah, I agree.
But there's one thing that's interesting at the beginning of the movie. We find out that Wong is actually the Sorcerer Supreme, and you can tell that like Strange feels a certain type of way about it. So maybe that goes into like the way he's acting throughout it, because like the whole time he just doesn't want to get caught. He doesn't want Wong to find out that he fucked everything up, But yeah, I mean, even if his performance was like, if he was acting weird and that's how the character's supposed to be, then yeah, he did a great job. Because he was fucking weird. But I feel like my favorite supporting character in this was definitely Aunt May. I feel like she really brought something out of Tom's Spider-Man that we all really wanted to see. And if she hadn't done such a great performance, I feel like it wouldn't. I don't know if I would have liked the movie as much because she really was so important to this whole story. And I love how they gave her the great responsibility line, because it's like, this whole time you're waiting to find out like what happened to that universe's Uncle Ben for her to be the one to say this line. I just feel like is so important for Peter. Yeah, Happy. I've never really liked Happy's character, so I'm really glad he wasn't in this that much. I don't know. I did like that one scene though, where the door camera shows all of them walking, and he's like, "Yo, what are all those guys doing?" I thought that was hilarious. Zendaya, I feel like, dude, she's been in like 2 of my favorite movies this year, so she's killing it, dude. And the writing for her was so much better in this one. She, like you guys said, she's the moral support for Peter, and if she wasn't there, or if she didn't do that like slight body tilt when he tried to reach for that box, like that whole it was so subtle, but it was so great. Ned, I didn't really feel any type of way towards these characters because I didn't like the first 2 movies. I was just like, oh, they're in the universe, whatever. But I that scene at the end where they're saying goodbye to each other, that shit got me. I was like, whew. Especially when like you can see that they're just like all tearing up, and it's like they don't want to forget him, but he's like, no, this is what I gotta do. That like that burden of knowing that like you fucked up these people's lives, but like you're still friends with them, and like you want the best for them, and what's best for them is you not existing in their life, is just so heartbreaking. The supporting roles were great. I really just need to see this again.
As for me, same thing. Supporting roles were fire. Happy was just Happy. Same. He's the same in every movie. I just feel like. But Zendaya, you really, and I mean, obviously, there's built-in chemistry there. We all know that. You really feel like watching that though. That like she is legit his fucking ride or die, and that is there's no question about that. Ned, Ned was Ned. Like
I
we've
would
all been
also
saying,
ride or die for Zendaya. I'm not gonna lie.
He's saying.
I think, like we've been saying, for the most part, these characters, these supporting characters, were not written well in the first 2 films. It was almost, I don't want to say like they were just there for some kind of comic relief or whatever, but with this one, it's a thing to where you're just like, yo, like you could tell that like they mean something to each other.
Yeah.
And so look, for all of the
wait, where is this one?
Who's that?
Is that him?
My bad. There was like a gigantic spider that I had to go.
Oh,
kill.
hey,
your moment to become Spider-Man and you killed it.
You're supposed to let it bite you.
This is high level combat, so just give me a second.
I was about to say, yo, I would burn my house to the ground if I found this.
Anthony sees a spider that big.
He's
He
fast.
brings out the flamethrower.
Yo, get out of here. But I thought it was great. I thought the acting was fire. There weren't any weak performances in this movie, to be honest. Everything, like everybody else who wasn't like main characters, they helped the story be as fire as it was, as far as like the way it was portrayed on screen. Aunt May, fucking great. Mr. Sweeney was great in this movie. Like we said, didn't give her much to do in the first 2, gave her a lot to do in this one, and which gave gave a lot of gravity to her death. Which also, look, I'm gonna say this shit. Like, I like the fact that they didn't give her a pretty dying face. Like, she looked like when she died, it was like really haunting. It wasn't just her eyes closed and her head faded to no. It was just like she just was like, you know what I'm saying? I like that because that like brought it hit home more than just a regular death. In other words,
it felt so. I was just gonna say it felt so genuine. Like she was in this state of like, confusion because she saw Peter crying. She was like, "Are you okay? What happened?" And it was like she didn't just get hit by a glider, It was God, that was heartbreaking.
She got hit with the glider. I automatically knew what was about to go down. But then like the next 5 minutes is some of the best like writing in the MCU, where she's just standing there talking to him and she's like half staggering, half still there, and she keeps going in and out. And I'm like, yo, what?
For like a moment, you think she's gonna make it, and then she falls, and you're like, oh fuck.
Because I assume like. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
But no, I was saying because, like, to add on with your point about how it was written so well, because when Goblin bursts through the room, you see her body fly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit. And then the icing on the cake, he pulls a pumpkin bomb out and throws it in there. So I'm thinking like, her body has to be roasted, like has to be.
Yeah.
But then you see her get up and you're like, oh, okay. And then like you said, it's just slowly but surely she's walking.
Slowly. She goes out of it, comes back into it, and then goes out again. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You guys are fucking.
I got you, motherfucker. I got you. Fucker.
That's Hannibal. He's looking for a spider, man.
Let him bite you.
Let it bite you, please.
Yes. Okay. Where's the camera?
Oh my god, that was too perfect.
Yeah.
Hi. Sorry.
He's sweating and shit.
So there was
like, oh, I got him.
There was like 2 gigantic spiders, and then they were like darting everywhere. So I had an emergency situation. But I live in Indianapolis, but the spiders are in hell, and that's all that matters. Okay, but sorry to interrupt.
No,
that
was awesome.
Yeah, that was. You're good. But yeah, as for me, acting was great all around. I couldn't find it. Even J. Jonah Jameson was. He can do no wrong though. Yeah, he can't do it. Yeah. I don't know.
Tell that these actors love playing these characters too.
Yeah,
can never slander JJ.
Yeah,
he's great.
He loves
it, dude.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how he felt when they were like, "Yo, you want to come back for It's just a little thing at the end of Far From Home, but you want to come do a little something." He's probably like, "Fucking, where do I sign up?"
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Like I get to slander Spider-Man again. Sign me the fuck up, right?
Yes, same voice and everything.
Yeah. It's so great. So, real quick, next thing, man. Now you can have more than one. You can have more than one.
The part where it started and then the part where it ended.
But you can have more than one. I'll look real quick for me. Just the way that there's a particular scene in the lab where he's just like, "Yo, what are those?" He's like, "Oh, these are my web shooting cartridges." He's like, "What?" Mm-hmm. That whole thing. That's like a discussion people have been having about these live action Spider-Man for 20 years. It's just like the cartridges versus the how Toby's was. The fact that they put that in there and it fit in the movie. Like that conversation fit in there so well, and then it continued as they were waiting for the villains to get to them at the Statue of Liberty. Yeah, it was. That's just like I said, as opposed to by no matter what we have to talk about the web.
Yeah.
And then I think they were just like, "Yo, it'd be cool if we talked about the web shooters right here. Let's try it out," and it fucking worked for me. It was absolutely perfect. Like. That one, and then obviously when he says, "Hey, Peter," and they're all just doing the meme, like, hey. What do we do? That shit was that awesome, dude.
I've got a few. Let me. I would say early on, my favorite moment was when fucking Matt Murdock showed up because
I couldn't even hear anything.
I saw the cane and I was like. I sounded like Soups in my fucking theater, dude. I was
like a fucking idiot, man.
Yeah, I was like, yo.
Yeah.
And like when they throw that brick in the window and he just catches it.
Yeah.
And he's like, how did you do that? And he's like, I'm a really good lawyer. I was like, fuck. So
people have already made GIFs out of that from the bootleg shot. Yes, I typed it in and they had it as a GIF. I was like, already. Like,
internet moves fast, man.
Yeah.
Andrew.
Another one. I just pretty much any scene where all three of the Peters are together, but the one in particular is when they have to regroup during the fight because they're two of them aren't used to fighting with a team. They had like this, little conversation. He brings up he's in the Avengers. They don't know what the fuck the Avengers are. But Toby is so supportive. He's so supportive. I love it. And then they sound off. He's like Peter 1, Peter 2, and then Andrew's like Peter 3. Yeah. And it just I love like Andrew he's such a great actor. And to be able to just make someone laugh so hard by just saying two words, like his comedic, like dude, he's just I love him. He's just like Peter 3. I love that. And then of course, you know, the hug at the end between the three of them. I lost it, dude. I mean, pretty much like Joey said, start, finish, even all the way to the end with the end credit scenes. I loved every minute of this movie.
Yo, real quick, the back crack scene.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh.
He's like, oh, you have back thing too.
Like
He's
a middle back.
Like,
Perfect.
let me get it. Yeah.
Brilliance. That
I
shit
don't know
was
how
so
you couldn't
like,
think about that car scene from Spider-Man
Yeah.
2 where he fell into all those cars, and he's
And
like,
you hear
"Oh
it
my
crack.
back."
My back.
Meg's favorite moment actually leads into mine was I know it was short, but when they leap off the scaffolding and start swinging.
Oh my god.
When Tom slingshots them further and like they start, that was so fucking cool. Like I was like, and then you see their silhouettes in the moonlight and they land on the statue. Like that was just so well done. And then
I
of
need
course
that shot in HD like right
Yes.
now. I need that.
Yes.
And then of course the Matt Murdock, moment. And it got a little meta there because like Jon Favreau was the original Foggy Nelson, so he got like another like chance to sit down with him.
Sure, yeah.
Those are probably my standouts.
Like when he tells Happy that he's pretty much like fucked up.
he's like, you need to lawyer up.
He's like,
what?
yeah,
He's
you're.
like,
I don't know
why
how
can
you're
you
gonna
deny
get
it? I can just tell them no, I don't want to say anything, right? Like,
yeah.
It was good. Destiny, what's the favorite moments? Plural.
Man, I have so many, but the first one that pops into my mind, my favorite moment, man, was I knew it was gonna happen, and Meg predicted it because when MJ falls off the tower, and I really do think for a second that it's gonna be Tom.
Me too.
Tom, and then he's pushed out away. I'm like, they cannot kill MJ.
No.
I really thought they were gonna do it, but when Andrews Peter says no and jumps after her and grabs her and lands, I was like, I was already crying. But when when Andrews Peter asked MJ, "Are you okay?" and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine, I'm good." But then he starts crying, and then she asks him, "Are you okay?" I'm like, I don't know if he's okay because he's just
I cannot tell you
himself.
how big
I'm not okay.
I can't tell you how big the explosion was in my theater when that shit happened. Like as soon as Tom got knocked out the way, and you're like, oh shit, and then you see Andrew. You want to talk about like making the chairs shake in there? That's how loud that shit was when that happened. Dude.
It was loud, and that has to be my favorite moment, man, because I was just cheering, sobbing. Like I love Andrew so much. Like everyone has said, his acting is just his face when he realized that, hey, I got her. Oh my god, that was so awesome. And another moment.
No, go ahead.
Another moment I really like that it was Toby's Peter who stopped Tom's Peter from killing Green Goblin when he grabs the thing. Yeah. I was like, man,
only for him to get stabbed in the back 2 seconds later.
Right. And then Andrew's Peter just asked that, I've just been stabbed before. He's fine. Yeah. I really was concerned, but I was glad that nothing happened to his Peter. But I thought that was a great moment. That was his Peter to grab the glider. That's what it's called, the glider. Yeah. And he just looked at him. And I thought that was so amazing. Honestly, the whole fight where Tom's Peter really let go of his rage and anger for so long. And I really believed him. Tom is so great, by the way. But he really did so well with the anger was so believable. Because I think some actors can't do anger that well. I don't know. It depends. Yeah. But that was a great scene. I really love that Toby was the one to stop them.
Yeah.
No. Go ahead, Ham.
Okay, so I can't say like 95% of the movie, right? Like I'm not allowed to include those in my favorite moments.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not gonna do that. There's so many. I have to choose between moments that made me cry and then moments that made me like fangirl in the theater. So I would probably say the first one that stands out is definitely the spider sense scene in the apartment because like I said earlier, like if you want tension in a movie scene, in a comic book movie, my anxiety was just as soon as it went off and he started walking through and characters started coming into the frame around him, and then Electro's looking at him weird, Aka's looking at him weird, and I'm just like, who's about to get him? Is it all of y'all or just some of y'all? And my anxiety was through the roof. So that was probably one of my favorite depictions of spider sense ever, I would probably say. I would probably say, the moment when, I mean, y'all have already said it, but the moment when the three Spider-Men are like trying to work out how they're going to go about this plan, and it doesn't work out at first, and then they kind of regroup underneath when Sandman starts going crazy, and then Tom kind of has to help them get on the same page because he's worked with a team before. And right after that, when the moment when they all swing into action and they come around, the music at that part was crazy, and when they land and it's 3-on-3 and it's like they squared up, I was just, I don't know. I felt like crying, dying, and cheering at the same time. It was weird.
The same way you felt when you just killed them 2 spiders a while ago?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. The euphoria that I felt killing the 2 spiders is probably just as the same. Yeah. I don't know. If I had to choose another moment, maybe I would, I actually really loved visually the whole Strange versus Spider-Man fight. Where they go to the mirror dimension, and it reminds you a lot of Doctor Strange because it's just there's buildings collapsing in on each other and just a whole bunch of crazy shit. And then the way that Tom was able to like use his head to get out of that and beat him with his intelligence, which is that's great because that's like one of my favorite aspects of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I will say I got a little freaked out at the end of the movie because when so Tom, the great fight between Tom and Goblin at the end. And at first I'm just kind of like, okay, he's had enough. You can stop. And then he kept going. And then okay, I thought like maybe somebody else would just like step in and like stop his fist or something and be like, hey, he's had enough. But then when he picked up the glider, I was like, "Oh, wait, whoa, what you about to do with that?" And then when he picked it up and carried it over there, I was like, "Oh shit, he's really about to kill him!" Like, and that was a crazy moment for me because it was like, "Yo, if Toby hadn't been there, like he straight up would have murdered this dude with his own glider, which would have been like the most, I don't know, like." I don't know what kind of, it just would have been one of the most craziest moments in a Spider-Man movie ever. So that moment probably stands out the most to me, but there's too many moments, man. This is not really a fair question. I blame the hosts and the moderators for coming up with
okay. And I said you can say as many as you want, man. Yo, I will say real quick before we
like 8 or 9, 10, 15.
The feeling that went through my body when Toby got stabbed in the back, bro. I told them, I was like, I wanted to throw my drink at the screen. I was like, no, the fuck you just did.
My body physically rejected that moment. I was just
no,
like, no, y'all didn't. Y'all didn't.
I was sitting there like literally like, what are you doing right now?
I was sitting there like, turn around. Why is your back to him for so long?
I know.
He's not knocked out.
All right, Rap Nerd, man, give us your moments.
Well, since y'all picked every single moment,
feel free to revisit, man.
Nothing left. But I'm gonna take a different path of what I really enjoy as far as this movie. I gotta give it up to Watts, man, because the cinematography in this film in particular was miles ahead of the other two. Like, I don't know who told him to snap this hard, with the visuals, but like. Even the shots that we've seen in a trailer, when you see it on a big screen, it's just like, holy shit, this is a beautiful frame. Like, the shot of, Peter in the black suit holding up the Strange gauntlet. Just that is a comic book frame. That frame, the rooftop silhouette frame is gorgeous. What's the shot? Even when the electricity fires at Peter and he's in the black suit and the way the camera just lingers on him and he's just kind of looking up at that battle stance, like gorgeous sequence. And when he's in the rain, the way that shot is just the whole way that sequence is just constructed. How the water's falling down on him. You see his boots first, and then it pans up to his face, and then it pans back, and you see him in front of the jumbo screen with Jonah talking. Like, beautiful frames. Oh, one scene nobody mentioned, the end scene in his new apartment.
That shit was great.
Yes.
Like, again, it's just the way they framed it. Like, it's a particular spot that in the shot you see the sewing machine. You see a little bit of leftover fabric, and you see his boot as he's like kind of going out of the window, and it's just kind of that moment like, oh shit, oh, it's the classic suit. And then just to see him running in the snow, because I don't think we've seen Spider-Man swinging in the snow live action, have we?
I don't think so.
Nah.
So that was just the added like cherry on top to see him swinging in the snow with the new suit, and I'm like, that moment, this is Spider-Man. This is Spider-Man. Like, So those are
it took us 2 movies to get to like a proper origin story. What will be Spider-Man?
Right.
So
a 3-part origin story.
So Phil, man, give us yours.
There's a few, but the one that immediately comes to mind is probably when the 3 Spider-Men first meet, but only right after Peter gets his moment of, reprieve with his best friends after Aunt May passed, but also like that entire conversation that they have on that rooftop and like really like what it means to be Spider-Man. And that's something I was really hoping for, had all these crazy rumors panned out to begin with. And, one thing I had wanted, and I feel like it did pay off in that regard, is that, if these 2 other Spider-Men were going to be in this movie and they were going to help Peter along the way learn something, it should be like an invaluable lesson in loss. And I feel like that message came through pitch perfectly, especially towards the end when, he's about ready to deliver that death blow to, Norman. And then of course Toby steps in, and like, which is interesting to think about because it's a reverse situation of what Peter could have done at the end of Spider-Man 1. He in fact does save Norman this time, but it comes with the cost. His good humanity gets to him, and Norman Osborn as the Goblin was just like, nope. And it's like, whoa.
You said,
but they still managed to save every one of them.
You got any more? Or we've already probably said everything.
Yeah. Rapner took my other one.
This is actually the movie going so hard.
About Peter facing down like J. Jonah Jameson, just grilling into him on that big screen while he's in the rain, and just like that's Spider-Man at a point where he's literally just more defeated than he was at the end of the first Homecoming film, where he's got all that rubble beneath him. No, this is that, but in a much more metaphorical sense. He's literally just at his wit's end at that point, and Jay Jonah's just driving it home like, this is your fault.
Anybody who gets close to Spider-Man,
right. That's crazy though, because everybody knows that Peter is Spider-Man at that point. So he's essentially saying, your aunt's death, it's 100% on you.
Exactly.
You're the reason she died. I'm just like, damn, bro. Like, he,
he did go hard. He went hard in that scene. I will say also the fact that we already know from the previous movies, from the Sony movies anyway, that both Toby 3 times over and Andrew twice has gotten the swing away at the end of the movie. The big scene at the end where the music is up and you see them going through the city, and then obviously they just go into the camera and then the credits start to roll. Tom finally got his scene, just like that, when he's running through the snow, slides across the roof, which was fire. And then he just, it was great. It was great. That's also one of my favorite moments, because up until this point, he hadn't gotten that like they did. And I think it was really well done. The suit looked fucking fire.
The
metallic. Oh,
God. That's
that last
fucking amazing, man.
Those last few moments of that movie is actually prime time Spider-Man, because he's by himself. He made his suit by himself. He has rent due at the beginning of the month. He's broke, doing everything. He's broke.
Great.
He's going to college, and he's listening in on police fees and just being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I really hope that whatever movie they do next, they do like a homage. Like one of the first shots should be a homage of Amazing Fantasy 15, where he's got someone under him while he's swinging away.
Yeah.
I next week's
bro.
next week's Hawkeye, I feel like, is going to be interesting because I feel like they definitely make it a point to show him swinging past that Christmas tree that we've seen in Hawkeye how many times now.
Yeah.
And you know, if you got, I don't know if everyone's seen the last episode of Hawkeye, but Yelena talks about all the places she wants to visit. While she's in New York, she says she wants to visit the revamped Statue of Liberty. That's now fucking destroyed. She wants to visit the New York Christmas tree, all of these things. And I feel like it would be a great way to connect how intertwined this universe is for them to be at the Christmas tree when Spider-Man's fucking swinging through it.
Well, not only that, if you all have seen the last episode of Hawkeye, there's absolutely zero coincidence that both Matt Murdock and the Kingpin would be showed off in the same exact week.
Right.
Well, in the new trailer, they're like, I think there's like some sort of showdown at that ice skating rink. And it's the one he swings by at the end. So oh my god, if we end up seeing him or like something,
I think that's what they're building towards. They're trying to create like more synergy between their shows, like on Disney Plus and the movies, because like
which Hawkeye totally does.
It's happened like all throughout the year, kind of, because like if you haven't seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you're not gonna know anything about the end of Black Widow when Valentina shows up and she's like, "Hey, come do this job for me," or whatever. Like, same thing as like when Scarlet Witch mentions, "I made mistakes in Westfield." If you haven't watched, Westfield,
WandaVision.
if you haven't seen WandaVision, you'll be like, "What the fuck is she talking about?" But
or like how Loki directly influences this movie in particular.
Oh, that So I like the way that they setting that up, because a lot of times in the past there wasn't always that perfect synergy and coming together of the shows and the movies and stuff. So that's kind of cool.
It is. So
Marvel snapping phase 4, man. I don't know what's going on.
It seems like this year has just been incredible. Like even their weaker
but hey,
it's a good one.
It's been wild. I've of course, like I said, my wife, she's into it, but not really. So like that brings me to the credit scenes real quick to wrap this thing up, man.
Okay.
Obviously, we had the mid one, with Venom and stuff.
Venom.
Which kind of, I saw something earlier where somebody had a picture of like Venom's Let There Be Carnage post credit scene. So they were like, I guess this just means nothing then. I don't
think so, because I think Venom is the one that recognizes Spider-Man. It's not Eddie is the one that recognizes Spider-Man. Okay. So I think that in some universe, Venom has fought a Spider-Man, and Venom just recognizes a guy dressed similarly. I thought it was interesting. I mean, I just love seeing Tom Hardy, so fucking show me more. I'm good. I did like how part of the symbiote stays there to kind of tease that the MCU's Venom is still out there. Eddie Brock hasn't gotten the symbiote yet, so that's going to be cool to see. Hopefully they do that with the next trilogy, is give an MCU Venom where he's actually a villain, like not just like an anti-hero. I want to see like an actual bad guy Venom.
And they also made fun of Hulk, which I'm sure you liked, Meg.
Yeah, because I can't stand Hulk. But yeah, no, I really like the end credit scene for sure.
So anybody go? What'd you think about the mid one, the Venom?
Oh yeah, the mid. Sorry.
So I was expecting something involving Venom going into the movie, because I was like, there's no way that they would tease that scene at the end of Let There Be Carnage and have it not mean something to this movie. So I was expecting it. I didn't know what was going to happen, obviously. I thought it was kind of funny that Tom comes to this universe and immediately is like finding out that, there's like a whole bunch of superpowered people here, where like on his Earth, I would assume that's like a very rare thing, obviously. So on one hand, I'm kind of like, damn, I kind of wanted Eddie Brock to stick around in this universe a little bit longer. But then I'm also kind of like, they're teasing that Venom is going to be a part of the MCU going forward in some capacity. So it makes me a little bit more curious as to how they're going to do it. And what stood out to me is that I don't think it was the whole symbiote, obviously, that was left behind. It was just like a little piece. Because my initial theory was like, what if like the entire symbiote had been left behind or something like that, and then he like becomes obsessed with Spider-Man, and then like that's somehow in the future when the multiverses open up again, you know, because we got like 2 multiverse movies coming out in the next couple of years with like Ant-Man and
and Doctor Strange.
And Doctor Strange, right?
He froze.
The spiders got him.
Yeah.
They got their revenge.
They got backup. Oh, there he is.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm thinking like, is this how Eddie Brock is going to develop some kind of weird hatred for Peter Parker because his symbiote's going to be attached to Peter and stuff? So I'm interested to see where it goes. I'm also interested to see what happens with Brock. What I really am hoping, obviously, is that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man somehow is involved in the Venom universe stuff, like with Morbius and Venom, and they're making a Craven movie and all that stuff. So a Sinister Six thing, I know that Sony has had their heart set on that for a while. They're still doing it. If they have Andrew be a part of that, I don't know how it would happen because I don't think him and Eddie are on the same Earth, obviously. But if they could set that up somehow, hell, maybe have Andrew mentor Miles during it. I don't know how they're going to do it. I'm just throwing it out there. That would be kind of awesome for me. So that's like the first thing I thought about when I saw that the Venom had been left behind, because I was thinking like, what do I have? What are they going to do? How are they going to handle this going forward for the 2 different universes, basically? So it was cool.
Guys notice,
it was nice to see.
That when the multiverses were like split open and Doctor Strange is like trying to hold them, that you see like the silhouette of like Craven, and then you see the silhouette of Rhino,
Scorpion.
Black
I saw
Cat.
Scorpion.
Oh, you saw Scorpion? I didn't
saw
see
Scorpion
Scorpion
today too. Yeah.
I saw a big ass scorpion tail, so it's either a scorpion.
It's either Scorpion or
somebody had a
Slayer.
really good cosplay that knew who Peter Parker was.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, I really think that that's what they're teasing for like the next set of trilogies, is these new characters that we haven't seen before. Which, dude, I hope so. That'd be so dope. I mean, obviously we're having the Craven movie, so fingers crossed.
Yeah,
we almost had a Craven movie for this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did mention that. Yeah. Anybody else got any thoughts on the mid-credit scene, the Venom one?
I would say at first I was very happy when I saw Tom Hardy, but I was actually so disappointed when he disappeared. I'm like, no, why are you disappearing? Why do you count? But then I saw the symbiote and I'm like, oh, okay, that can go in the college trilogy. You're giving me something. And I do want to say, I guess this is kind of related. Well, yeah, it's related. But I expect this movie is so great. I love, as you can tell, I love this movie. So when it comes to the college trilogy, I expect nothing less than this movie 3 times.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Craven, Rhino, anyone. Like,
it really set that
we
bar.
need this over and over and over again, especially since like I like Homecoming. Far From Home has problems, but it's so crazy that we got this and you could have delivered this in some ways. You know what I mean? Looking back, it's just we're not accepting anything less, you guys. We're not. We're not.
I'm spoiled now.
John Hughes.
The bar has been set.
Don't use John Hughes as the blueprint anymore. Like,
I love John Hughes, but like we don't need. Like,
Real quick to mention the Rhino. I love how Andrew made a little comment about it.
Yeah,
how trash the Rhino was in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Right?
Oh my god!
Rhino.
Yeah, that scene where they talk about their favorite villains. That was amazing.
Yeah.
And
Andrew's like
him saying like, "Oh, I'm lame because I fought a rhino or whatever." It's like,
Russian guy.
You're not fucking lame, bro.
Oh yeah, he's like, "You're amazing."
You're amazing.
Or like how Toby was like, "Oh yeah, I fought an alien too, but it was kind of like a black gooey kind of thing."
Yeah.
Right.
And then Holland's like, "Well, I fought somebody in space," and they're like, You put an
He's
alien in
like,
space?
what?
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew's the whole time just sitting there like, why haven't I been able to fight an alien? Like, what the fuck? Come on, writers, for the Amazing Spider-Man movies, give me my damn alien. I want to fight someone.
Yeah.
I think the most disappointing thing about the mid-credit sequence is the fact that it left a little something to be desired, because you really want to see Tom Hardy face off maybe against one, if not maybe all three at some point. Preferably Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
I also think
absolutely.
that by leaving a piece of the Venom symbiote in the MCU is Sony and Marvel Studios going, okay, now we don't have to worry about reintroducing Venom for a third time. Let's just have our cake and eat it too. You guys take a piece of our pie.
Yeah.
And that's
true.
that's literally what they did.
I was gonna say,
actually.
who would you guys cast as like that universe's Eddie Brock?
I have no idea.
Topher Grace.
Yeah, Topher.
Well,
Oh, no.
I feel like I only saw Venom Let There Be Carnage once, but
Yeah, me too.
it leads off at the end. How does Venom even get to, and Eddie get to that like beach location? Isn't like, because a lot of people are like, oh, so Venom can like time travel or something like that. Like, how does he get to that beach? I always forget.
Oh,
The
At the end of the
beach,
movie, he's left as, he's like branded as like some sort of killer or some shit, and then they like flee off. They don't but
like
on it too.
okay.
But then at the end, he like says, "I've seen so many universes or something. Let me show you." And then
they have a hive mind, right?
Right.
So
they get transported or whatever.
So can Venom just transport? So he could just transport back to the MCU? Maybe. I have no idea. Because isn't that how he got to the MCU timeline? Is because he
knows Peter, or the Venom knows Peter, I guess.
Yeah, because they like did that weird hive mind thing and just transported there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it just happened at the same time that he's talking about it and he's transported because of the spell.
Yeah, I have no idea.
That's
Be interesting.
Yeah. Anybody else got some thoughts? Mid-credit scene?
What about the post-credit scene?
Yeah, no, we're about to get to that.
That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah. All right, so to finish off, man, the post-credit scene, which would turn out to be a trailer for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which, look, my thoughts, once again, tying into these Disney Plus shows, What If? You got to see Dark Doctor Strange at the end of the trailer.
Yes, Strange Supreme. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll say this, look, the trailer was fire. I'm looking forward to this, obviously. Trying to see where they go with this. I just thought, to me, that was my favorite part of it, was just seeing Doctor Strange at the end when he was like, I can't remember what the line is. He's like, the only person, something is
the
yourself.
most dangerous person to the multiverse is you.
Is you, yeah. And true, as we've seen from the if you watch What If, I'm sure all of us have seen What If. But yeah. So anybody thoughts on the Doctor Strange trailer?
Well, I will say Doctor Strange wasn't acting as weird.
Yeah,
in the trailer.
exactly.
Like
He had a new goatee and shit.
Yeah, he was very polished. I'm like, man, that goatee, you put a lot of time into that. But it was nice to see Wanda. But it was a good trailer. But I think the part that I really freaked out was when I saw America Chavez, when I saw the star on her jacket. I'm like, oh my god, I almost forgot you were in this. But it was a great trailer, and I actually forgot. I heard rumors circulating that it may have been with the movie, but I have forgotten by the end of the movie because I was just consumed,
Yeah.
So it was a good surprise almost.
I think I remember seeing a rumor that, Wanda might be, some kind of antagonist of this movie. And I was like, that's nonsense. And I'm really glad this first look kind of paints a picture that is just not that at all. It looks like Strange is going to her for her assistance and is like, look, do you know anything about the multiverse? No? Okay, me either. I need your help.
Yeah.
He's very straightforward about it. And he looks a little bit more spooked than usual, which, as far as Stephen Strange is concerned, his characterization in a post-Endgame world, I mean, he's still Stephen Strange. He's still gonna be that arrogant SOB who thinks he knows everything. But the fact that, Wong is still, by technicality, a Sorcerer Supreme, I think this movie is going to position him in the Sorcerer Supreme title, Whether that means
I
Wong
think
lives or
Wong's-
dies, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I think Wong's gonna have to die, unfortunately.
He's gonna have to.
Maybe.
Well, I feel like the only way for Doctor Strange to defeat Strange Supreme is for him to become the Sorcerer Supreme. So,
Right.
Yeah.
unfortunately, that
No. I think
one.
yes. Yeah.
Wait, so
I
do you
really
guys
wonder-
think that there's gonna be like cameos from like? Because I've heard weird rumors about like X-Men showing up in this movie.
That's what
Okay,
somebody just said.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's any movie, I guess it would be this movie.
Yeah.
Dude, the only way to top how much I love Spider-Man No Way Home is to bring in the fucking X-Men.
Oh, they
I-
gotta go crazy with it.
I
then.
would
They gotta
be
go nuts.
screaming the whole time.
The door's open now.
Yeah,
No
exactly.
Way Home.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
They just pulled that off. I mean,
Yeah.
I got a weird feeling it's actually gonna be bigger in scale than
Me
No Way
too.
Home
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
we actually don't know shit. Now I'm starting to think about it. Like
Yeah.
we didn't
It's very
see any
shocking.
kind of set photos or like I've heard nothing. Like
I
it's
saw
been
one photo.
And I think that there's
Right.
something that came out recently that the reason they're reshooting parts of Multiverse of Madness is to add more cameos.
Yes, that's what I
Yeah.
did. I did hear that.
Oh my
yes.
god.
So
Yeah.
yeah, dude. Here's the thing: like Marvel has been on top for so long, and they're just setting themselves to be on top for another 10 fucking years. And
Oh
Literally.
my god.
Yeah.
We are 100% gonna see Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider pop up
I would
somewhere. in
love
this
Oh,
that.
movie.
To be
Possibly.
honest.
It's gonna happen. Come on, you can't tell me they haven't approached
Yeah.
him and just been like, "Hey, how big is the check? How big do you need it to be?"
Yeah.
And Nicolas Cage will fucking do anything. He doesn't care.
Right, yeah.
He's
Come
he's,
on.
He's
It
playing
has to
himself in
be.
a movie that comes out.
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
It has to
Nick
be.
Cage is on board. Yeah, he's on board for all of that stuff.
Blade. Could probably see Mahershala Ali's Blade pop up there, maybe.
Yeah. Well, dude, at the end of
Maybe.
Eternals, you hear
Yep.
his voice. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my fucking god! Like
Yeah,
this,
that's-
like if you think like the last few years, 10 years of movies has been cool. It's like, okay, yeah, they were awesome, but I feel like now it's just going to be on a total different level because now they can do all of these crazy different characters that maybe 10 years ago wouldn't have quite have worked. But now
Right.
they've built this huge foundation of movies and backstories and interconnecting them all just perfectly that it's like, oh yeah, we can bring the X-Men in now, and oh yeah, we'll bring the Fantastic Four in now. We got this.
Deadpool. They probably will.
Dude. Yeah.
I'm sure he's showing up.
Somebody
Yeah,
said
yeah.
they hope Deadpool show up. That would be.
Yeah, that's that's.
I mean, if
I
there
think
would be,
that's a foregone conclusion. Right there.
yeah,
Yeah.
if there's anyone who's going to challenge Strange's patience after Tony Stark, it would more than likely be Deadpool.
Yeah.
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 Which would be
Ab-
actually would honestly
100%.
be hilarious. I mean, look, it's look what they did with this. Like I talked about it on my show on Friday, like which makes Warner Brothers even more break my fucking heart. They
Oh, don't talk about that.
they literally.
Oh my God, don't
I'm
get
not
me
just gonna
started.
say. I'm not just gonna say.
Why
They-
did my heart just sink through the
I know.
I can rant for
Oh,
about
good God.
3 hours
My heart
straight
is
because of that. Like,
broken.
Look what
Like-
they did, dude. Look what they did. They brought 3 generations of
Ugh.
Spider-Man
Hey,
to the
but
screen successfully.
the
Warner
Flash,
Brothers
two
funny.
Flashes
Okay,
met
relax.
one
Oh
time.
my God.
They met.
One time on it.
They, you know that episode of what CW show? No one fucking
Crisis on
watches.
Wait, hold on.
Yes.
Michael Keaton.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, that's gonna be so much better than this entire movie.
Hey, you know,
Supergirl.
I love Michael Keaton. Love him.
Oh,
And-
Yeah.
I do, but like,
But that's
What's-
yeah.
what's crazy is,
Spider-Man?
right? Like,
3.
I watched Zack Snyder's Justice League like a week ago,
Yeah.
and
As we
literally just watching it, just like this was supposed to come out in 2017.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
and Steppenwolf straight up says all across the multiverse, and I'm just like,
It was right there.
And we had
Then they-
everything set
Right
up
there,
perfectly in that movie. We had time travel. We had the new gods.
Yep.
We had a Green Lantern show up out of all things. I'm just like,
Knew
Yeah.
who our
Bro.
Superman was.
right, he was gonna make
we had a
pretty
nightmare
much-
sequence. Like, come on, man.
like who wouldn't want to see a Fury Max Road version of Justice League? Like,
Right?
Yeah,
That's
man.
what I'm saying.
also
Yeah.
you gotta
It writes
wonder
itself.
you gotta wonder if Flash's book in this movie in No Way Home is called Flashpoint. And I was like,
There's I saw
that might
people
be-
talking about.
I did think about
there's
that for a second. I was just like,
There's
There's a comic, right?
Spider-Man
There's a
comic
It's a
Spider-Man
pretty
comic
interesting
called
name
Flashpoint,
choice for a book.
yeah.
I'll say that much.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah, from like
It was.
90 something.
Yeah, I'm not sure when it was from, but I saw people posting that it's actually a Spider-Man comic. So
Oh, interesting.
the
Ah,
title
Yeah,
of it, at least.
I retweeted it and got some heat for it.
I know, I saw it. People were like, "Really?" And you're just like, "It's a joke." And that's
Yeah.
the
So
thing.
I'm
Like,
done.
we can't. I feel
just
like we
yeah.
can't make these little jabs because people take it so personally.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't
For lack-
yeah.
you're
I'm
not
actually
excited for
Twitter
the
always.
Flash?
You guys are
What?
being toxic again.
Yeah.
So, you know,
okay.
And it's like, no, we just
Okay.
want. Like, here's the thing. I enjoy most comic book things that come out because I love comics. I love these characters.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not even a big fan of Spider-Man, but I can appreciate like what this movie did.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want that same type of quality and care from like another. Like, DC's my favorite, and
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah. It's it. Yeah.
and like, dude, I've never had a theater experience like this ever. Like, all these different generations of fans. Like, the family in front of me was like, they were all dressed up as
Mhm.
Spider-Man, like, and they had brought like their super elderly grandpa with them, and he was fucking dressed like Spider-Man, dude.
Yeah.
And
Oh wow.
I've never had like that type of movie experience, and it sucks because like, you know, I want to be able to like have a movie with like all of these different DC characters from all these different generations meet up, and it's like, yo, we're not gonna get it in that type of way.
Yeah.
No, not that type of way.
Like okay, yeah, it's cool to have all these like separate projects. Like, okay, we're gonna get a Batgirl show, we're gonna get, you know, Blue Beetle and all that, but like, it's not.
But what are we
connected.
leading to?
Exactly.
You know,
What is
yeah,
it going
yeah.
to?
What are
is
we
it-
doing? You know?
Yeah.
What's the
Right.
payoff? You know, like, we don't even know who our Superman is.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, we have Supergirl showing up in that Flash movie, I think, and we have what did it say? 3 Flashes. You got Michael Keaton. There was a rumor that Superman might
Oh,
show up. in
3
the movie. I don't-
Flashes?
I don't
Yeah,
know
3
about that.
Flashes. They added one.
So there's the initial
Maybe
Ezra
2.
Miller from
Yeah.
you know, Justice League, and then
Yeah.
there's the other one that has the Keaton Batman suit spray painted, and then
Right.
allegedly Grant Gustin's Flash might show up.
Yeah.
in this
Right,
movie
right.
as well.
No,
That's what I was.
What?
Right.
Warner Brothers. That's not what we want.
They never know what we want.
I'd take Flash Thompson from this movie instead of Grant Gustin's
I do
Flash
not
in the
want.
Flash DC
I don't
movie.
want CW
Right.
crossovers with the
No.
movies. I don't want.
Right,
them.
they're saying they're
With-
sitting there, they're setting it up. They're gonna be like, oh, fans are gonna go crazy
know-
for the CW.
No.
You know, the 3 fans that watch Grant
I was
Gustin's
gonna say all
Flash
2
are
of them
gonna
are going to be
fucking
like,
love this.
yeah.
I've
My
seen
thing
2
is,
rumors
like,
lately.
with Marvel shows interconnecting with the movies, that makes sense because like, they're the same quality. Like,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
they've been interconnected. the whole
comparable
time they've-
budgets. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but like,
They
the
put the
stories
same
that
amount of money in. Yep.
connected and intertwined together. There was one fucking scene that would connect the CW to the DCEU, and that's just
Right.
the Flash.
And
How-
also that scene, this VFX looked like trash though.
Well, yeah.
It wasn't that good. It wasn't that good.
And it mentions a Victor that we're never gonna see again.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen 2
Yeah.
rumors this past week that the chick from the Suicide
Yeah,
Squad,
that's what
whoever
Anthony Strader talking about. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Amelia Harcourt or whatever, she's apparently might be in Black Adam, and then of
Adam.
course this one right
Wait,
here.
who
that
is
Anthony
this?
Strader's
Who is that?
Exactly.
James Gunn's girlfriend.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
An
James Gunn's
actress from the
girlfriend,
Suicide Squad is
The blonde chick,
supposed to
remember?
show up in
Blonde.
Black Adam. Yeah.
Oh,
she's allegedly gonna.
yeah.
have
I
a
don't know
part in
anything
that.
about her, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a
I don't
part
even
of
remember her.
she's a part of Amanda
Amanda
Waller's
Waller's
crew.
crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
And
about to have
apparently-
more fucking appearances in the DCU than Superman.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's the
And then
'cause
Wonder
that's
Woman
what I
might show up
fucking
in
care
Shazam.
about, yeah.
So
And then Wonder Woman showing up as his Anthony the guy.
It just sucks.
And I
Yes,
think that's what
that
they
is.
think like cameos are just gonna make everybody be like, oh yeah.
Oh, it's connected, yeah.
Oh, see, they're doing
Oh.
the thing, and it's like
not
See,
quite, but okay,
the
sure.
disconnect here is that No Way Home respected and honored all the generations, all the fan base
Yep.
of Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
But on DC's side, it's like they've clearly alienated a large
Yeah.
portion of the fan base. So it's like, why would you want them to be excited when you told them, no, this isn't, we're not going to talk about this anymore?
Oh, the Monday after a huge film drops on
God.
HBO Max, you say that's it. You're not
It
going
is-
to more.
It is very interesting that the president of Warner Media has come out and was like, "Oh yeah, it's a global phenomenon. Why can't the rest of your staff get on that same page? I don't know."
Yeah.
And now they're just kind of throwing a whole bunch of projects out the window and
Exactly.
hoping that the
Something.
fan base gets excited about some of them, you know. Whereas they
Right.
said,
And
I'm
that's
like,
why I can't get excited anymore, because they always announce something that's going to get scrapped in a year. You know,
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah, that's true.
I'm pretty
like the
sure
Black
everyone
Hawk
here,
Down. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
what
I'm
happened
pretty
to
sure-
that?
Only
I'm
thing
pretty
I
sure.
was kind of excited for was the Black Canary movie that they said they
Yeah.
were coming out with.
Yeah,
Because
I
I always
swear if
wanted
that
Journey
gets
to
scrapped-
get another opportunity as Black
Yeah.
Canary.
riots will happen.
Bro, I'll be picketing outside of Warner Brothers headquarters.
I mean,
Don't
it's
take
like,
Journey from me.
you know, I'm pretty sure everyone here probably does a pretty good job of expressing their interest when they like things that they're excited for. And
Yeah.
if you're not really excited for something, it's probably best to just not talk about it, because who wants to deal with,
Yeah.
you know, all those hardcore, well, you don't know what you. That's why I don't really talk.
You're
about
not a
Peacemaker that
DC
much.
fan. Okay, let me
Right.
just show you my fucking 20 long boxes of graphic
Yeah,
novels and
seriously.
comics.
Yeah.
Guess
And the
I'm not
5
DC.
million DC Funko Pops.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
But you're not
Yeah,
a fan
Meg.
because you just want better. That's
Yeah, Meg,
Yeah.
you're not a DC fan. You can just send those pops to me since you're not a real fan, and then
Yeah,
Yeah. Fucking 30,
Let them take them off your hands.
yeah,
But no, I mean, I just really love No Way Home because it just feels like a celebration of
Yeah.
every
Mhm.
type of
Yep.
fan out there, and it makes
Right.
you feel like if Toby is your Spider-Man, you're gonna love it. If Andrew's your Spider-Man, gonna love it. Tom, you're gonna love it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't ever feel like one iteration is set above another. It all feels like they were on the same, like they gave each of them the respect that they deserved.
Yeah.
Even in the writing.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like that is just such a, like, what a way to show show them that they appreciate their audience than doing something like this.
Honestly, No Way Home is kind of like three different things. Like it's kind of like a culmination of the Spider-Man trilogy in the MCU, which whatever, and then it's a celebration of Spider-Man and all of the generations of his fans, and then it's also like a bridge towards something in the future that people could be excited about. People could be excited about Tom Holland Spider-Man and maybe going forward into his new trilogy. People could be excited about seeing Andrew and Toby, and all of a sudden now they're like, hey, so could we get them back? Are they trying to like that gets people excited?
Yep.
We had that in Zack Snyder's Justice League. We had a culmination of a great trilogy. We had a celebration of all of these heroes, and we had so many things in that movie that could have been a great bridge to something in the future to look forward to. Like, oh, you want the nightmare scene? Hey, there could be a whole Justice League sequel focused on that. Oh, you want, you know, Flash time traveled in the movie. Oh, you want to focus on New Gods? Darkseid and Granny and Desaad showed up in the movie, so you know we could do more stuff with them. We could get more, and instead, even the scene with Deathstroke and Luthor. So that's a great Batman movie. Just setting itself up right there.
Going back to Themyscira and reconnecting with her family.
Fucking perfect. So
Cyborg
we had that.
coming
It's the same
more
thing. It
closer
sets
to
up three
humanity.
different things, and we're probably not gonna see most of that, to be honest.
Yeah,
That's
unfortunately.
crazy to me. Yeah, that's nuts.
It is pretty insane. Yeah.
And where is the Superman movie?
Yeah.
Been asking this question for years, honestly.
I don't understand how you can have a universe and not know who your three staple Trinity characters are. Like, we know Gal is Wonder Woman. Ben is Henry for, Ben is Batman for maybe, I don't
Two
know,
more
the Flash
projects.
movie. Yeah. Maybe
Yeah,
Batgirl, who knows? Superman,
It's a big question mark.
the guy that has portrayed him has said 1,000,000 times, it's still in the closet. I can get it whenever. Just let me know.
He loves Superman.
Yeah,
Loves him.
and you're like James Gunn says, oh well, I don't know like who this Superman is that Bloodsport's talking about, but yeah, he did put a Superman in the
movie takes place in the DCEU though.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, how do
Like,
you
I'm not
not
supposed to be
know?
excited about that. They talking about, oh, it's in the DCU, but I don't know which Superman. Like, even Dwayne The Rock Johnson was talking about Black Adam, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, I think Black Adam should fight Superman." Now, which Superman? I mean, I don't know. I'm like, bro, what? How am I supposed to get excited about that? What you mean? Which Superman?
You have the same fucking manager. What do you mean?
Just say you want to fight him. Just say that.
Yeah. Well, because the conversation like prior to this was, I want to fight Henry's Superman, and now like he would even share artwork of his Black Adam fighting Henry Superman, but now the conversation has shifted to whatever Superman it is, and it just sucks, man. It really sucks.
How do I not know which Superman he's talking about? Like he could be talking about a whole Superman that ain't even been casted yet.
Yeah,
and there are fans out there saying like, you can make great films and it doesn't have to build towards anything. I'm like, I get what you're saying, but we also need to know where we're going though. Like it doesn't need to be a pointless movie because I feel like that's kind of what happened with, like it or not, the Suicide Squad. I feel like people didn't go out to see it because it's a movie that doesn't make people have to go see it. It's kind of like, if I don't see it, what is this? Where are we going with it? And,
And also, we had that for years, like with all the superhero movies that were standalone. Because like you would always hear like, oh, would it be cool for a Justice League movie, or wouldn't it be cool for this or that? And it's like, that's all it ever was. It was people saying, wouldn't it be cool? And then nothing ever came from it.
Yeah.
So it's like, we've done that. Now we would like a cohesive universe.
Yeah, and in this world, we would like to see these characters come together. We want to see like, okay, are we going towards legal, dark side just come in, or are we doing new guys? Like, what are we doing when we're combining all of these characters in one? It's clear that they're all in the same universe. So
I mean, and in Black Adam, they're they have the whole JSA, and there's going to be a JSA in the DCEU, but we don't even know who our members of the Justice League are anymore. And it's like, we could have like this really cool Justice League JSA team up fighting Darkseid and fucking New Gods and all of this cool stuff, but we don't. Again, goes right back.
Like
to
it would be cool if we,
even
if we didn't know. It'd be cool if they were just like, "Yo, so we got like a Justice League sequel coming." Like maybe the members could change. Like they could add Shazam or they could add Hawk Girl or something like that.
Yeah.
But we could at least be like,
there's Justice League. They say there's room for more. So
room for more, right? So, but they could at least be like, how like Falcon and the Winter Soldier came out, and then like a day after the finale, they were like, "Hey, Captain America 4 is coming with Anthony Mackie."
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there like, we have literally like the most iconic heroes of all time on our roster.
Superhero.
Yeah.
And we have a Justice League movie, and we have no idea when the next Justice League movie is. We have no follow-up, no nothing. And we don't know if it's going to be a follow-up to that Justice League movie or if it's going to be a completely different Justice League movie with a whole bunch of different characters that follows a different timeline. Like we don't know.
And even
they could just easily announce it.
Yeah, and even with the bullshit we didn't cut, like it's still if y'all claim that this is canon, this is still a movie where all the characters come together and you have no plans of even
doing anything with that.
Doing another movie.
But they also made the empty promise about
show, guys.
Too.
So
What?
we've got Peacemaker.
Oh yeah. Don't give a shit.
Just really good.
Honestly, the problem with this whole universe is that even the people making it don't know what the universe is. Like, they don't know. Nothing is connected. They don't know what.
I mean, how can you have these creatives just making movies and you just tell them, "Oh yeah, just do whatever. It doesn't need to connect to anything." But it's like
their excuse is multiverse.
Yeah,
multiverse this, multiverse that.
But we're not going to include this.
You can't use this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah. What the fuck?
And it's not a small amount of people who want this other thing that they don't want. Like they're trying to make it seem like, oh, it's only a little.
It's a vocal minority.
No, it's a fucking That's
it's a global phenomenon.
Yeah, seriously.
I had a dude the other day at my job, right? A dude at my job. He didn't like Man of Steel or BVS, and he came to me the other day and was like,
kicked him out.
Did you see the Zack Snyder version of Justice League? And I was like, yeah. He's like, man. They should have shown that version. Like that is the best shit that I've seen from DC since The Dark Knight. Like, I'm just like,
I work at a comic book store too, and a lot of the conversation that I get from a lot of the older generation who comes in and buys comics, a lot of them say now, I wasn't a big fan of the Eternals. I want something more like, wait for it, Zack Snyder's Justice League. And it's like, you're not the only one, bud.
Yeah.
And I guess
imagine if we just
thing,
had a sequel coming.
Like,
hey, it'll be here in 20.
Yeah.
Or something that just follows up with, like, I'm not saying it has to all be Zack, but something that,
of course,
follows,
right?
The doors that he opened in the movie. Man, you just named all of the different stuff that, the movie alludes to. It's all right there. So I don't know.
I think
I don't even need a
Ohio
release
Dave,
date. I just need hey, it's in development. We're working on it. You'll get it eventually. Like one of those, I'll be like, all right, I'll shut up for a little bit. But
Ohio Dave
like,
tweeted something perfectly. He said, Marvel, in our multiverse, everything is tied into everything now. DC, in our multiverse, we can't have two Jon Stewarts.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can't have two Jon Stewarts. We don't know who our Batman is. Can't have two dark sides.
But here's 4 Deathstrokes.
Yeah, here's 4 Deathstrokes. Here's 3 Batman.
It's literally
fine.
just like
here are 10 flashes.
Yeah.
Endless possibilities. It's like, okay, can we have this? That's impossible. I don't know.
We're gonna give you every Superman except Henry Cavill.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, but we don't have a Superman, but it's not Henry Cavill. But we don't have one, but
we
it's
don't
not
know
him.
who it is, but it's not him. Yeah.
We kind of got a Batman, but we kind of don't.
Yeah.
Like we have
Michael
a Superman
Keaton.
show coming. That's it.
Yeah. Nobody.
Which, if Michael B. Jordan takes on that role of Al-Zod, I'll watch it 100%.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Sure.
I'll watch it, but that ain't what I want though. I don't.
No.
Right.
Can't disagree.
I love Michael B.
Yeah.
Black Superman, Val-Zod, that's cool, but I mean, I want that. Like we got Henry Cavill right here, who's perfect.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Who's sitting here going on a tour saying like, "Hey, I still want to play it."
We're
Man,
about to get
Warner
another
Brothers
Matrix movie, and those 3 movies, the original trilogy, were modeled as like a modern take on Superman-ish to some extent, and we're about to get a 4th Matrix movie, and those movies invoke to me are the closest thing we're ever going to get to like Superman versus Brainiac.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Warner
Yeah.
Brothers is fucked
Exactly
up
that.
so bad because Henry Cavill's popularity has only gotten bigger. So
Yeah.
his his
Yeah, the
paycheck
Witcher and shit.
is only getting bigger.
Yeah.
So it's like you should have just done it when he approached you with Christopher McQuarrie and just let him have that awesome
Mm-hmm.
Green
I would've
Lantern,
loved to have known what
Superman
that
shit.
full pitch was like.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But no, you're just gonna wait and now you're gonna be like, oh, we can't afford him. Shucks.
A Superman and Green Lantern movie. Come
It's because
Bruh.
someone like Toby Emmerich won't fork up any cash like that because he's
Well,
too cheap.
Until the regime has rotated, we're not gonna look. I saw something earlier this week that kind of gave me a bit pause. Like we're all hyped for the Batman, right?
Yeah.
If there's
Yeah.
literally for real 2 versions of that movie, one with the Joker, one without, that means Matt Reeves did not have 1,000% creative freedom. Because if he did, there'd be one version of that movie, the one he wanted. There wouldn't be. Can you think Matt Reeves would be out here talking about, let me make one version with the Joker and see who likes which one better? No, he's gonna make a fucking movie that he likes.
Yeah.
He's gonna put it.
I
out
wonder
there.
which one
But
is
if
his
that is
version
true-
though. Which
If
one
yeah,
is
well,
his?
Yeah, I've wondered it. But
Right.
if that is true, that there's 2 different versions, that means somebody was in there meddling. And they were like, yo.
I feel like his version would be the one with Joker.
With
Because if you remember him teasing the pictures, I mean he just posted pictures of like the old villain suits.
Right.
And the Joker is in those pictures. So like for me, I feel like it has to be the one with the Joker in it. And maybe he's like, oh, let's just see which one plays better or whatever, what one works better. But it's like yeah, I don't know. Just if someone like Matt Reeves, like hypothetically, if he didn't have creative freedom, and that's what they've been. I mean, the only other director to say that they've had creative freedom is James Gunn, and he fucking said it way too many times.
Yeah.
Way too many times.
And ironically enough, he even had deleted scenes out of his movie. So
Yeah.
And as much as I whine about no Superman and no Batman or whatever, what about Green Lantern fans? They are starving, you know.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
pissed.
Holy
In
shit!
the desert.
if I
Yeah.
I mean,
as
they
a
had
John-
what Ryan Reynolds 10, 12 years ago now.
As a Jon Stewart fan, finding out that they axed that idea outright just because of they use the multiverse, that is just such nonsense to me. Because there's only one person I could truly think of who would axe that idea, and he wears a ball cap. Yeah. And it's just like you
dude,
you
and Wayne looks so good as Jon Stewart, and it's just
right.
So
that could have opened some doors for him. That would have been great.
Exactly.
Right.
And when you think about, Jackson as JL, imagine how much powerful that would have been had it actually been Jon Stewart talking to Bruce.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't continue it, we still have a version on screen just to see.
Mm-hmm.
But
hey,
that hurt my heart.
It's a multiverse, but yeah.
But no Jon Stewart.
Green Lantern fans have nothing to look forward to. That's crazy. Other than, I guess, the Green Lantern series that we still don't know
Jack all
anything
about.
No, there's nothing.
Like they've casted like one person, I think, two people.
They two people. They did Sinestro and Guy Gardner.
Yeah, they cast him back in like May or something.
And then they had nothing at DC Fandom about
and then
the show
they never talked about it again. They were like, "Hey, we cast see you guys later."
We cast Guy Gardner, and then that same day, released the Green Lantern scene was trending on Twitter. So,
didn't they say that Hal and John are not going to be a part of that series, anyways?
They did. They said Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart are not going to be a part of it.
So when are we going to see them? Like, when are we going to get a movie with John and Hal again? Right?
Two fucking cool space cops in space doing cool galactic shit.
They were just like, oh, bro.
I gotta give it to Marvel. They got it sewn up. Right
seriously,
now.
It's
so organized,
dude. To be able to have an animated show connect to a live action show, like it just the possibilities are endless now. Because like if that version of Doctor Strange can show up in live action, who's to say that Captain Carter can't show up in live action?
She'll probably be in Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
that's my guess too.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah,
it's just
I thought Endgame was a feat, but after seeing No Way Home, I'm just like, they can do anything they want now. Like,
yes.
Once Loki wrapped and the multiverse was really cracked wide open, I was like, okay, there's absolutely no way, shape, or form that they're gonna pass up on an opportunity to maybe.
Could you imagine Secret Wars, dog?
Exactly.
2015 version.
Exactly.
Oh
yeah.
Man,
having the worlds collide and make Battle World. Oh.
We gotta change the name to our show now. We can't be World's Finest. We gotta be something Marvel related, guys.
What?
Jeez.
No, that's absolutely not.
We'll talk about that later.
Oh. Yeah. If somebody would have came to you 3 years ago and was like, "Yo, check this shit out. Marvel's gonna put out a movie. They're gonna get Toby and Andrew back alongside Tom, bro. We gonna see Doc Ock in that bitch." You'd have been like, "No, that shit's not happening."
Yeah.
The fact that they pulled this off, that just I can't even. It's almost like I can't even put that shit into words. The fact that they were able to pull this off,
unparalleled.
Yeah, it is. It is. You know, and could you think of DC or Warner Brothers trying to put together? Let's have this sort of Batman storyline where we have Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton, fucking Christian Bale. No, they can't, because there's some fools. They don't know how to hold shit in their hands. They fumble shit all the time, and they can't keep from messing with the directors. That would never happen in Warner Brothers. To be able to do something like that, and they're going to attempt it next year, or is it Flash coming out next year? Or
yes,
November.
They're going to
November
attempt
4th.
to do such a thing.
Unfortunately,
yes, they're going to attempt to do that. I've seen it done at the highest level with this movie. I don't know how they can even think that
the only way it could have ever came close is if they did a true Flashpoint adaptation. That shit would have been insane.
Yeah.
But they're doing
Wonder Woman
like
holding up Mara's head and all of that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Wonder Woman killing Shazam, dude. That's the only thing that I feel like would ever come close. If that's what they were gonna do with the Flash movie, that's the only way I feel like it could have touched No Way Home. But, I mean, I feel like a lot of people are just putting a lot of pressure on Keaton to bring people to the seats, and people that are fans of Keaton are like, I'm not saying younger people aren't fans of Keaton, but right now that demographic of people aren't going to the movies as much as the younger generation is going to the movies, especially in the pandemic. And if it's still the same way in November, I just don't see a lot of people going to the movie. Not as, dude, I was elbow to elbow with people in the theater. Yeah. I haven't been to a showing that packed since Endgame.
Yeah.
But I feel like people are putting a lot of pressure on Keaton to bring people, and I just don't really know. I mean, maybe I'm just being pessimistic about it, but
because the problem with that is it's kind of like with Toby, Tom, and Andrew. It's something that people have wanted to see for a while. I mean, we've seen fan art drawn by many people, like having all three.
Right.
We haven't seen any real fan art like that.
Other than him being in Batman Beyond. That's the only thing.
Right.
Yeah,
but
we haven't had this idea. Yeah. We haven't had this idea.
The worst part are the rumors. The worst part is the rumors that Michael Keaton might be taking over
the mentor
version of Batman afterwards,
which I keep hearing that, and it's just like
little to no sense at all.
Exactly, it makes little to no sense, and people like fire back with, "Well, I read Reddit every day." It's like that's great, bud. Good for you, but you're not sitting down there in LA making. Yeah, exactly. It's like you're not sitting in LA making these decisions, but good luck trying.
Yeah,
but. It's frustrating to think about stuff like that because Keaton was a great Batman and he had his time, but I feel like trying to put him back in a suit now, especially after what we've seen both from like Christian Bale and Ben Affleck and even now with Robert Pattinson, it's like, dude, when you set the bar was down here. You now have to live up to a bar you can't put back up. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna be moving slower than he did back when Tim Burton was directing the first movie. Like, if they're putting him back in that old suit, he's going to move twice as slow now.
Yeah, that suit was pretty restrictive.
So it's just like, I'm really curious to see how Muschietti pulled it off, like that Batman duking it out with criminals and shit.
Right.
So, we'll see.
And then QC Clemens' comments didn't make me feel any better either. Her comments to me came across as like, it sure is a movie.
I'm in it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Her comments just sounded like one of those. Hey, I hope y'all like it.
Yeah.
Y'all enjoy. Like this is for you. Oh, me? I showed up. I was there.
I did it for you guys. Check. Yeah.
Like even Ezra Miller at Fandom was like, we can't really show much, but we got a little bit of something for you.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know,
dude. Where did your enthusiasm go?
Yeah. They need like a whole marketing push to really make people like care. I think a little bit more about this movie. Like
they do.
Obviously, they need like a full trailer and poster and everything. People might start talking about it a little bit more. But if they're just relying on Keaton to sell the movie, I don't think that's enough.
Yeah,
I don't think it's enough.
And not to mention, they're also battling Zack Snyder's Justice League again. Like people are not going to forget what Flash did in that movie. Like,
right.
We're not going to just skip over the fact that Flash ran time back and not only ran time back, but recreated a whole reality. Like, how are you going to top that? How are you going to do anything close to it?
I think that at first, I feel like a lot of people were dogging on the No Way Home's marketing by not showing Toby and Andrew. But now I feel like word of mouth is going to get out and they're going to market. So they're already getting the people that knew they were going to be in the movie at the movies. But now, once people start seeing it more, they're going to start marketing those three being in the movie. Yeah. And it's going to get even more people to come in. People that had no idea that they were going to be in the movie.
I guarantee you by Wednesday, you'll see a TV promo for Spider-Man No Way Home that shows 100%. Toby and Andrew.
But it's just going to make more people go and see it. So it's like, I feel it's actually pretty smart marketing, I think, because people that had no idea, people that had no idea that they were in it would be like, yo, 3 Spider-Men, I'm going to see this movie. Let's go. So I think that at first, I was kind of like, yo, what is this marketing? But now it makes sense for sure.
And
maybe they're actually kind of creative geniuses in a way because they allowed all this speculation to fester for months and months. Like it wouldn't surprise me if they're the reason why most of this shit leaked.
Oh yeah,
like I'm 100% sure.
Then they get like everybody online to start speculating and talking about it. Heavy rumors. They don't do anything to like confirm the rumors.
Yeah.
But they also don't do enough to deny them. I mean, other than Andrew
They
just
poke
getting
the
on
bear.
TV.
Yeah,
every day
Andrew
and
just
saying,
being out there.
I'm
like,
totally
yeah,
not in the movie. I'm not in the movie.
We're doing all
No
this.
way.
You have they did
Yeah.
it perfectly in that, you know, Andrew was outright just saying, no, I'm not in the movie. But then you had Tobey Maguire just going like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know.
Then you had
but
Alfred
then
Molina like, I'm in this bitch. Like
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah,
here's a
and,
set picture of me.
Jamie Foxx
Yeah,
deleting
Jamie
his
Foxx,
Instagram
yeah.
posts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, but
Even
that's the one
I
thing.
think Charlie Cox was on live
What up,
once, and he was
Jonathan?
just like,
What up?
"Oh well, we'll see. I don't know."
Yeah.
So I'm
And then
sure.
that's the one thing I feel like is really going to hurt the Flash's run in theaters is they're already advertising who's going to be in the movie. Like it's already showing that
Yeah.
Supergirl's going to be in it. Two Batmen are going to be in it. It's showing two Flashes. It's like it's showing all of these crazy moments that would have been cool. Like if you're going to the movie thinking it's just going to be a Flash movie and you see Supergirl show up, you're like, yo, what the fuck is up with this?
Yeah.
But it's
Right.
putting it all up front for you to see, and I'm sure there's going to be cameos in it that we don't know about or whatever.
If they're
but
smart,
it's
yeah.
yeah. But again,
But even then, that's not gonna do what No Way Home just did, because No Way
Yeah.
Home's cameos to a whole different level. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. To a
Like,
whole other
it's
level. Like,
not the same anymore. Like just showing a person in a movie, that's not gonna work. Like
Yeah.
Like imagine if Ben was actually in the Flash movie as much as Andrew and Toby were.
that's what I'm saying. Like
Mhm.
No Way Home just literally
Well,
took
and
the
then
rug underneath.
what was it? There was like a rumor that came out like a few days ago that Michael Keaton's Batman and Ben Affleck's Batman don't even meet. So what's the point?
Just
What?
missed opportunities.
Yeah, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like that's hard to believe. They can't go an entire movie and not have a scene.
Hey,
together.
man.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They
I've
can,
seen
and they
Stranger
probably will.
Things,
Yeah.
a la Justice League 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, you know what I mean? Like,
I erase that movie from my
I've
mind.
seen. I've seen. Yeah,
I will
wouldn't-
admit, I was blinded the first time I saw it, and then I'm
Then
mad
you
at
saw
myself
the
every
light.
day.
Yeah, man.
I'm mad at myself every day for that. Like,
Mhm.
What up, Dark Star? What's good? What's
What
good?
up?
Yeah. So, anybody got any final thoughts? We've been going for like 2:45.
We've been going longer than the movie.
Yeah.
Y'all want to watch it on the stream? Nah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Sure, why
Get bounced off of here real quick.
Yeah.
They'll be like, you know what? Actually, they're not like Warner Brothers. They might actually like this free publicity we give them.
It's true.
Yeah, you ever try to watch a trailer from
Dude,
Warner
the
Brothers on the
only
live stream? They will
trailers-
clap you.
The only trailer reactions I've ever gotten copyright strikes on are for Warner Brothers owned properties.
That's it. You
They
do
just
Disney,
don't want you talking
or-
about their shit.
Well, I don't think that's what they don't like.
Not
it.
unless you're gonna kiss their ass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
What you're gonna do is when you watch one of their trailers, be like, "See, this is how y'all done fucked up again," and they're like, But you watch Disney shit, they're like, "Yo, we enjoy this free publicity. We enjoy you guys. We're glad you enjoy it. Don't get hit with shit."
Yeah.
So that's how it is, man. Anybody got any final thoughts? Spider-Man: No Way Home. I will say this.
I am now an
This is my
MCU
final
cultist.
thought. Huh?
I am now an MCU cultist. Thank you, Lord Feige.
Thank you, Feige.
no lie, that's literally how I'm kind of feeling. Like after just seeing that shit, I'm like,
Yeah.
I think I'm
Yo, listen
Like-
to the bro.
like,
Listen to fans of the first two movies, fans in general. The first two movies, you know what? We're not really digging that Flash Thompson because he's just kind of trash. So guess what happened in this movie? You didn't even see him that much. You saw him just a little bit. Just a little
He's
bit
in the
to know
movie
he
for
was
like
there.
3 minutes.
We listened.
Dude,
They
that
listened
little
to people.
scene of him talking about the MIT mixer, that shit was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He walks in right when they find out that they didn't get accepted. He's like, and he's wearing the sweatshirt.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh well, I'm gonna go to this
It's
mixer.
like,
so.
oh well. See y'all later, I guess.
But yeah,
Yeah,
like I feel like more studios like don't be in like a vice grip with your fan base. Obviously, do things that you want to do, but also listen to
Yeah.
the people that are
Because-
going out and supporting these movies and supporting
Mhm.
your IPs and buying the merch and buying the comics, all that stuff. Maybe not just listen, but like respect what they have
Yeah.
to say and like
Mhm.
it's just really cool to
You
be able
gotta
to
have a
sit
good
down and like
balance. Yeah.
sit down
Yeah.
and like celebrate like a movie like this because it is a feat. It is like it is like built on a foundation of so many different movies, so many different years, not even just MCU movies, but like Sony movies too. And it's like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's insane.
Like,
and I just
all the
wish that,
Spider-Man movies are canon. That's crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I saw
Like, that's
someone
nuts.
tweet, they're like, Spider-Man, like the first Spider-Man movie is the first MCU movie. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It has rules.
There is actually one thing I wanted to ask about, if anybody noticed this. So it's kind of like a little funny plot thing with No Way Home that I have headcanon to fix, so it's not that big a deal. But so if we're going by the events that happened in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, then I'm not sure at what point Electro would have found out Spider-Man's real identity, right? Because Harry he showed up after Electro was gone, and then he kind of like put two and two together and was like, yeah, kill Gwen, right? So my only headcanon, I have two pieces of headcanon that like reconcile this thing in my brain. So maybe one is like, you heard Electro saying that he was trying to become pure energy and he was in the grid or whatever, and then he says he almost died, or he was about to die or something like that. So it's possible that maybe he was dying and he was still around and he saw Harry show up, and Harry like put two and two together, and then he's like, wait, holy shit, Peter's Spider-Man. Oh, that's interesting. And then Electro got transported to No Way Home, right? The only other one I can think of is like maybe this was like an altered variant of the Amazing Spider-Man universe where it's like the same as that world, but like a little bit different. Like this Jamie Foxx has a fade, he's got a better sense of fashion. And he maybe found out about who Spider-Man is, or at least found out his name before all that stuff happened. So those are like the two pieces of headcanon I have to reconcile, because when I was watching the movie, I was just like, wait a minute, based on the events that happened, I'm not sure how you would even know who Spider-Man is. Would you?
See, I wonder if it's just he may know the name, because remember at the end when
he just knows his name, because at the end he thought he was black.
Yeah.
So I'm just
exactly.
Okay.
So I'm guessing he must have just heard the name and be like, oh, Peter Parker. I know that kid Peter Parker. It was just like that's why he showed up. That's one thing I think of.
Right.
Yeah.
Real quick.
That's just because I've been thinking about No Way Home too much. So don't
same. And not too much thinking about it.
There's no limit.
Yeah, there's no limit. Also, I saw something earlier. Damn it, I wish I would have saved it because it was kind of fire. Like, there's where Andrew's talking about how he went kind of over the deep end in his time in his universe, and he kind of got brutal. He quit pulling his punches.
Yep.
And then there's like that fucking scene. What show is it? There's a scene from a is it a Disney Plus show? I can't remember where I saw it at now. It's a trailer of some sort where a dude walks by a poster of Spider-Man and it says murderer. Oh, and Mobius in the Morbius. His trailer. He walks by a poster of Spider-Man that says murderer. So I wonder if that's the same Andrew just murdering cats now. That's some crazy shit.
I hope so.
Yeah,
it could be. I know the original poster was just like they just used placeholder photo from the Spider-Man game, the Raimi suit from the Spider-Man game, and they just kind of used it as a placeholder. But it's possible that actually, I don't know, I haven't seen the latest one, so I don't know if they changed the poster or not. But
get ready for the Spider-Man doesn't kill argument.
Oh god.
They're about to drag you through hell with this again. Good lord.
Photoshops of Spider-Man with a gun. Zack Snyder's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And all the comic panels that point to as to why he would never kill.
Yeah.
All right. True.
Just got exhausted thinking
Michael
about
Keaton
it.
in the Morbius trailer. That was so. We'll have to see. That goes.
It'll be interesting to see how they work that.
Yeah. For sure. So, all right, before we wrap up real quick, I want to thank everybody for joining the panel tonight. This has been a fire discussion. Nearly 3 hours of just talking about No Way Home, and then like 30 minutes of just clapping on Warner Brothers as we do. It's the funnest part of the stream. That's how we got to do it. So, real quick, everybody, tell them where they can find you. We'll start with Phil.
Well, thanks again for the invite, guys. If y'all want to follow me along, it's just at Unfiltered right there. any social platform, Twitter, Vero, Instagram. You can listen to my other podcast, Eternal Night and Superhero Stress, on any podcast network. You can also find me on the Four Nerds Network, most likely on ACS show every Friday if I'm not working on Friday nights. You can also find me on the Late Night Poll Friday nights.
All right, nice. And Rap Nerd, where can they find you, man?
Yeah, same handle down here, the Rap Nerd JSO, all social media, on YouTube as well. Got a podcast, the Film Wrap Up Podcast, and thank y'all for having me on here.
Appreciate you coming on, man. Hannibal, where can they find you?
Okay, my name is not Hannibal on Twitter. I don't know why I didn't put the thing down there. You can find me on Twitter at superfan_K. Also, I have a YouTube channel that's also called SuperfanK. So check that out. I talk about pretty much everything: movies, TV shows, news. A little bit of thirst. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not proud of it. But, just a couple of things. That's where you can find me pretty much.
Cool. Destiny, where can we find you?
Well, you can find me on my Twitter @is right there. I'm on my Twitter a lot. I also have I also have my YouTube They Love, spelled the same way as right here. And then I also have my podcast DCNT, where I talk about DC and also probably talk about Warner Brothers a lot. So, if you want more of what we just did for 30 minutes, that's DCNT.
All right, we appreciate y'all for coming again. This has been fire, dude. Yeah. And we did literally spend the last 30 minutes fucking this. DC.
This was a lot of fun.
DC catch these
the way it worked out was I was just seeing like you guys all talk about No Way Home on the timeline, and I was like, yo, this would just be an awesome conversation to have because you guys,
I know I was going in.
It was really cool. And I'm really glad you could all make it. Thank you guys for coming.
Yes.
This is great. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yo, you guys are also welcome back anytime, to be quite honest.
Like,
I'd love to be back. 100% love to be back.
Me as well.
You can come to our Flash review whenever we see it.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
Are we doing it?
It's gonna be wild.
Is it gonna be?
That means we have to watch it now.
Oh crap!
I mean, you always can 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Oh. I'm counting.
We got people.
Yeah,
we got people.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's all I'm doing. That's it.
Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all when we see you. Obviously, as far as Meg, Joey, and I are, you'll see our information in the outro.
You know where to find me.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. Okay. Calm down.
Yeah. Damn. You know where to find us. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Hope you enjoyed this conversation. See you guys next time. World Finest out.